That's the BBC's Yolanda Nell reporting from Jerusalem. A plane chartered by the state of Florida evacuated 14 Florida residents, including children, out of Haiti. This father was reunited with his 2-year-old son and spoke with WFTV.
It took about 2.5 weeks, so the days were turning into weeks, the weeks were turning into months, but we're very grateful to everyone that made this possible.
Meanwhile, the State Department says more than 30 U.S. citizens will be able to leave Port-au-Prince each day that the government can safely operate evacuating helicopter flights. Congress is facing a Friday midnight deadline to pass another government funding bill. The $1.2 trillion spending package includes money for the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security, among others. Authorities are searching for a white supremacist Idaho prison inmate and an accomplice. They fled yesterday after the accomplice fired at corrections officers who were transporting the inmate from a Boise hospital. 3 officers were shot and wounded. Shohei Ohtani's interpreter and close friend has been fired by the L.A. Dodgers following allegations of illegal gambling and massive theft. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten.
Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
One of the few remaining survivors of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor has died.
Richard C. Dick Higgins has died in Bend, Oregon. He was 102 years old. Higgins was a radio man assigned to a patrol squadron of seaplanes based at the Hawaiian Naval Base when Japanese planes began dropping bombs on the morning of December 7th, 1941. The bombing launched the U.S. into World War II. According to the sons and daughters of Pearl Harbor survivors, there are now 22 known survivors of the attack still living. About 2,400 servicemen were killed that day. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says it expects the federal government will be awash in debt over the next 30 years. But the office's outlook has improved over the past year due to increased immigration and agreements to reduce spending. News and analysis at townhall.com. AI fakery is quickly becoming one of the biggest problems confronting Americans online.
Deceptive pictures, videos, and audio are proliferating thanks to the rise and misuse of generative artificial intelligence tools. With AI deepfakes cropping up almost every day, it's getting harder to tell what's real from what's not. Fake images can be used for scams and identity theft or propaganda and election manipulation. To spot a deepfake, experts advise people to look for the consistency of shadows and lighting, the edges of faces, and people's teeth.
That's correspondent Jeremy House reporting. On Wall Street yesterday, stocks rallied to record levels after the Federal Reserve indicated it expects to deliver interest rate cuts later this year. This morning, Dow futures are up by 123, NASDAQ futures ahead 175. More at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ, the travel witch, and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Thursday, everybody. Yeah, it's that one day you're like, all right, I'm starting to sense weekend now. And I want to make weekend plans. And I see the weekend. Like Wednesday, you're kind of like, all right, we're getting there. Monday, Tuesday seem a mile away from Friday. But Thursday, you're like, all right, we can make this home stretch. Got to get through the day, and then we ride this train into the weekend. So, but happy Thursday, everybody.
You can smell it.
That's right.
It wafts of weekend.
It reeks of Thursday.
That's right. Hi, everybody.
Yes. Sean is back with us this morning. So
I'm so much happier to be here than all of the out there I've been dealing with for the last few days.
Yeah, Sean, we mentioned it briefly yesterday here, but lost in the family. Sean's father-in-law.
My father-in-law, yeah.
He passed away, lost his battle to cancer.
60 years old. David Stafford, he worked over at Southwest Printers, I want to say probably about 25 years now. He's worked there for most of the time I've known him.
Yeah.
Like, briefly, he worked at Allsup's when Carletta and I first got together, but then almost immediately he was at the print shop.
So
and
if you
he's
had
been
something
forming
printed for them, odds are pretty good he might have touched it over the last 25 years.
Odds are guaranteed. That man worked 80-hour weeks, and boy howdy, I have a lot to say about it. But I did want to mention, if it's okay with
absolutely
with the folks here, the brass. We did go through and do his funeral arrangements yesterday. We're going to cremate him. We're going to have a memorial later in the month. We want to do something outdoors, something maybe like a barbecue is kind of what Carletta was thinking. But we did incur about, it's roughly $4,400 in expenses to get everything taken care of with cremation and everything.
Right.
And we did set up a GoFundMe. I'm going to put a link up over on the 106.5 Roswell Talk FM Facebook page. And if you can donate, then please do. But I'm really just asking that you share it. That's really the main thing. If you can just get the word out. He was really well known in this community. He worked with a lot of charitable organizations, Main Street Roswell, the city of Roswell, and I feel like he gave so much of himself to this community, and I'm genuinely hoping we can give back.
Absolutely, he's a staple of the community, and just praying for the family and you guys and everything, and just a lot of folks, even if you, like you said, share it. But I think usually with those things you can like leave messages to the family and stuff too. So if you'd like to share some of your thought stories with them through there, I would imagine if you knew David and maybe had some stories with him and wanted to share them through that, I think the family would appreciate that.
A lot of folks didn't know him as David, didn't know him as Mike. They knew him as Gandalf. That's what
he had a wizard-like appearance.
He did. He was very tall. He had long white hair. He had a big bushy white beard.
Yeah.
And it was sort of he was sort of a known figure as Gandalf in the community. Gandalf the White, not.
I was like gray or white.
Yeah. Which is funny. We joked about that. He went gray in his like early 20s.
Yeah.
Like. Man's had a rough life, early life.
I know that story. I had gray hairs at 18.
And he went full gray.
Yeah,
like he went shock gray.
No, I just had the sprinklings at 18, and then it went salt and pepper about 10 years later. So.
It was kind of interesting though. I got to say a humongous thank you to Anderson Bethany Funeral Home. They really did take the reins on this one, and they took a lot of burden off of Carletta's shoulders for sure.
Good deal.
But one of the more interesting things, and I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this or if this is just like the thing that they do as like a surprise. We get through the whole process. And obviously it's a heavy process. You got to go through a lot of legal information, a lot of names, addresses, social security numbers and whatnot. And we get to the end And we're walking out the door, and the young lady who was helping us, she has carrying this one of those like reusable grocery bags, and it had a Sara Lee loaf of wheat bread on top. So my thought goes, she's setting up for lunch for the company. She's going on a picnic.
Ranch Marin's on the way home. Yeah.
She says, this is something that we like to do for our families. And she handed it to Carletta, and it was a loaf of white bread, a loaf of wheat bread. And I didn't see it because I gave it off to Carletta, but what I imagine is a whole sliced ham.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like stuff to make ham sandwiches. It's like, that's so comforting.
Yeah.
But it's also something that nobody would have ever thought of.
You're
We're
right.
sorry for your grief in this time of need. Have some ham.
Well, and to be honest, it's probably very useful.
It really,
you know what I mean? Like flowers are nice. Right. Flowers do, set the tone and make people feel better. But you can't eat a flower.
That's
I
right.
mean, you
ham
could.
is universal.
You could, but when the family gathers, that's what happens when you lose someone in your family member. The family emerges and you eat a lot of food. That's just what happens.
We're sorry for your loss, Mr. Nussbaum. Here's some gefilte fish.
Man, this starts getting me in the egg thing with Always Sunny.
Right? Would you care for a ham in your time of need? Oh, that's great.
Who
would just throw out four crates of perfectly good eggs?
But that is a nice gesture.
It
Actually.
really was.
Uniquely nice gesture. So that's pretty.
Some good ham too. I didn't actually get to try it, but from what I've gathered, it's some good ham.
Free ham is the best tasting.
That's
ham.
right.
Thank you, Porky.
Yes. For your sacrifice.
Your back leg is delicious.
It will not go unnoticed.
Oh man, but yeah, we'll post that up here, and if folks could share that, and if they like to support, they know the family and would like to help out financially, it'd be a great thing. But help them cover the cost for people can't afford to die no more.
I'm telling you, and that was the more shocking thing is we said, okay, well we're gonna go cremation because it's a simpler, it's a less expensive option.
Less expensive.
And then we saw the invoice, and it's just like, yeah. I understand there's other things that go into the cremation process, which obviously have to be paid for.
I imagine there's a few regulations involved when it comes to burning things. So, yeah.
Like we're responsible for paying for the fuel, which Mike actually had a great point yesterday. He said, can I just bring my own?
Yeah.
Just walk in with a loose can of gasoline.
Matchlight.
I got this.
This is where that point where they think our jokes might be off-putting.
Is that the place?
Yeah, I think this is that point where they say...
Is this what Gene meant when he said you should stop talking a sentence before you stop?
Yeah, I think it's that point where people say, why did they say that? That's where they give us the dirty looks.
Yeah.
Like, you and I are just like, that's pretty good. And the rest of the world is like, that's off-putting. But
the problem is we glad hand.
We do. This is we're that we kind of are that people that like when everyone's fighting, we're the one just saying like chili burger, huh? Just we're that guy in the room, just to completely like, who decided these curtains? Yeah, that's us. So anyway, we do have a full slate for you for today's show.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
give you the rundown. Going to talk a little baseball here this hour. We're going to be joined in studio by Eric Naria. He's with the Roswell Sertoma Club. Also, we're going to have head coach of the NMMI Colt baseball team, Brad Blackwell. Starting today, tomorrow, and Saturday is the Roswell Sertoma NMMI Colt Classic baseball tournament. And they'll be in action starting tonight here with some baseball. So we'll talk a little bit about the tournament, talk about some of the teams that are going to be participating. And
I believe
of
we're
course,
also going to have coverage of that.
No, we're doing the other.
Okay.
There's a lot of baseball.
There's
going
so
on
much
right
baseball right
it's
now.
It's a bevy of baseball.
I just looked at the schedule today. I was like, Jiminy Christmas. They are everywhere today.
But they'd love to get you come out and watch some awesome baseball.
Yes.
Colt and other high school baseball action during the 3-day tournament here. So Eric and Brad will join us here in just a few. In the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:15, I had a great phone conversation yesterday with Yvette Harrell, former representative serving New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District, current candidate for that same seat. She joined us, had a great conversation. So I'll play that for you here about 8:15. And it is our third Thursday of the month. That means the folks from the district attorney's office scheduled to join us, give us an update on what's happening over at the DA's office. So we'll see if they pop by, and we'll chit-chat with them.
Very good.
Plus, we'll have all of your features that include the newses of the local and national variety, Wall Street business updates, sports, and whatever else pops on to the show today.
Indeed.
So before we do any of that, though, let's take a Gandalf at your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of cloud cover hanging around this morning, but we should start clearing up this afternoon. Pretty pleasant daytime highs today in the mid-70s and a little bit breezy. Overnight will be clear, mid-40s, and then we get sunshine on Friday, upper 70s to about 80 on the afternoon high. The upcoming weekend looks pretty good. Mix of sunshine and clouds Saturday and Sunday, getting windy. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, 50 degrees and mostly cloudy. I'd go with partly cloudy because I can see some stuff behind the clouds there. So partly cloudy is what I'd go with. But they say mostly cloudy. Humidity is at 57% right now. Winds are calm at the moment. Sunny today, 70s, mid-70s, 74 expected high. Northwest winds 5 to 10 this morning, 10 to 15 miles per hour later this afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear skies with an overnight low of 44 degrees. West winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Friday, sunny, 78 for a high. North winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Friday night, partly cloudy, overnight low of 47 degrees. North winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Looking at the weekend, partly cloudy and 77 on Saturday. Winds will get a little breezy, 10 to 15 out of the southwest in the morning, picking up 15 to 20 for Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 52. Sunday, going to be windy. Highs expected near 70 under mostly sunny skies, but expect patchy blowing dust for Sunday afternoon, and the winds are blowing. They don't even give me wind speeds yet, but they just say windy. Sunday night, going to be windy as well. Patchy blowing dust continuing in the early evening hours, mostly clear with an overnight low of 39, and then 61 and breezy under mostly sunny skies when you head back to work and school on Monday. All right, it is 17 minutes after 7. We're going to take a quick 2.5-minute break, and then we're going to talk a little NMMI Colt baseball here with the Classic coming up this week, or actually starting today. We'll talk about that next. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Check out some of the bargains you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market. Tubs of Bluebonnet spread are 2 for $5, and boxes of original Kraft mac and cheese are 88 cents each. In produce, large Cantagold cantaloupes are 2 for $4, and snack-size Haas avocados are 3 for $1. In the meat department, family packs of sirloin cut pork chops are $1.99 a pound, and family packs of fryer thighs are just 99 cents a pound. These are just some of the savings you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market.
At Richland Motors, it's never been easier to sell or trade your current car, truck, or SUV for a newer model to hit the road in. Even if you don't purchase from Richland, they want to buy your vehicle for top dollar. But if you do buy from Richland, don't forget, they're the home of the powertrain warranty for life. That's a whole lot of confidence for you. See Richland for details. 2nd and Sycamore and 1309 Southeast Main.
At Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium, we honor and pay tribute to the achievements of your loved one by celebrating the life you shared together. Anderson Bethany Funeral Home and Crematorium is compassionate and cares about our local community and the families we serve here in southeastern New Mexico. Locally owned and operated, we will be here to help you decide how to celebrate the bond you've shared and pay tribute to the unique individual you've lost. Visit us at 2609 South Main in Roswell or call 622-5888.
Ed Safety and Services, LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for roustabout crew and a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screening. Ed Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 2801 North Freeman in Artesia. Ed Safety and Services is an equal opportunity employer.
Are you or a loved one having a hard time getting to your medical appointments? At Artesia General Hospital, we believe that transportation should never be a barrier to good health. That's why we're excited to announce our new non-emergency medical transportation services. Each of our vans is wheelchair accessible, and our friendly certified drivers go the extra mile by meeting you at your doorstep and ensuring a comfortable ride to your Artesia General Hospital services. Rides are available Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Schedule your ride today by visiting artesiageneral.com/transportation or calling 575-736-8211.
Playing dance music can help ward off mosquitoes. Now you have a reason to invite Pitbull to your next pool party. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Eric Nario, who's with the Roswell Sertoma Club. And then we got head coach of your NMMI Colt baseball team, Coach Brad Blackwell, with us. Morning, guys. How y'all doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, thanks for coming with us. Even though I made y'all nervous about a week earlier, that's today. No, it's next week. So my lack of vision and looking at small print messed me up here. I was a week ahead of myself. But the Roswell Sertoma Club NMMI Colt Classic Baseball Tournament, relax, you're a week out. You don't have to start, we got to get to the games today. Next Thursday is when everything goes on, and of course we'll be here at the baseball park and everything. So first off, let's before we talk the baseball side, let's talk a little Sertoma stuff. This is the 30th anniversary of this tournament. Before we talk about the tournament, talk a little bit about what Sertoma Club does. I know probably a lot of people have heard of the Roswell Sertoma Club, but may not be aware of what you guys, what your kind of tent pole passion projects and what you guys do as an organization. So let's talk a little bit about that first.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for having us on this morning.
Anytime.
Most of you all know that Roswell Sertoma has the Sertoma Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
And we use the Sertoma Bingo. We operate a nonprofit, and we use all the funds that we generate through the bingo to pay for stuff like scholarships for students. We give away 27 scholarships every semester to anyone who has parents that live in Chaves County.
You guys got to raise a lot of money, because that's 27 that's a lot of money.
We do pretty good. A lot
of hustling.
Our club's been around since 1945.
Nice.
So some of those early members, they accountants, doctors, attorneys, you name it, some really professionals, kind of pillars of the community, put together the club and used foresight to say, let's make this club a good club down the road.
Sure.
And so they ended up investing and buying a building and getting the license for bingo.
Hence, it's been around for 30 plus years and has the history it does, because some smart people created a good foundation.
Right. And so eventually they, 30 years ago, they wanted to create a gift to the community and create an opportunity for high school NIMI students who play baseball to play against a multitude of teams.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time NIMI is a 1A school, so they have they don't have a lot of they don't really have a lot of 1A schools locally. So
yeah, they usually have to do a lot of traveling things, and that's why baseball season they have a lot more tournaments, so they can, it's not only a lot of baseball one day, but financially it's probably good for the schools to pool resources so they can afford to send the kids all over the state to go to these types of things.
In addition to that, we also we give $5,000 a year to pay for the fuel for the guy who drives all the vets to their doctor's appointments all around here.
Oh, for the vet transport service.
Yeah,
here.
we sponsor Character Counts, Chaves County.
Another great organization throughout the entire county, fostering, mentoring youth there through schools and through that program.
And I could probably go on and on.
Good deal. But a civic organization doing a lot, particularly with youth, but really serving various roles throughout the community here. So when you go play bingo at the Sertoma Club, and let's face it, not everybody wins bingo. A lot of us go home not winning bingo. And when all that money you spend on bingo is going back for scholarships and all the good work that Sertoma Club does. So with that being said, Coach, any home runs done by the Colts next weekend? Can we yell bingo about maybe?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Get a couple dingers, yell bingo when they get a dinger.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about this tournament. It's going to be next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I know your first match, you're going to play Roswell High JV team. That's your first matchup, and then obviously because it's a tournament, it kind of
Yes.
Depends on the outcome of that game and who wins in other games. But
exactly.
But talk a little bit about some of the teams that are invited to this year's tournament.
So this year we have Eunice, Capitan, Shiprock, Artesia JV, Melrose, Goddard JV, Roswell JV, and us. So, I mean, you have 4 local teams that'll be there. 4 of the 8 will be local. So, Artesia, you want to count that 5 locals. So
Sure.
a lot of the teams will be close. We have, teams anywhere from the 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and up to 5A JV. So we got teams from all different levels. So it's going to be very competitive. And I kind of wanted like that, it being the 30th annual, it's kind of a big deal. And I just want it to be, competitive for everyone. I didn't want it to be an easy path for us.
Absolutely.
Most importantly, I want it to be, competitive for us, because the more competitive games we play, the better we're going to be when it matters.
Absolutely. And for folks that don't follow high school sports that closely, the way the seasons are built, and it's not just baseball, football, the other sports are generally built the same way. It's where the regular season, it's that iron sharpens iron part of the season. You could, in theory, probably not, but in theory, lose all your regular season games and then get into your district play and kick butt, and then you're in the playoffs and go. Exactly. Not saying that the regular season's not important, because it very is, but this is a great time for coaches and stuff. You want to build that schedule to maybe even include teams that are way above your class.
Right.
Again, because iron sharpens iron. If they get the experience facing these bigger schools, bigger teams in the regular season, odds are they're going to be better battle tested when it comes to district time and playoff time when they're competing for a blue trophy here.
Exactly. I can agree more.
So that's kind of why it's set up. So this is great for the opportunity for the team, because you really see these 3, 4, 5A schools, granted JV, but they're from bigger schools. These are, in theory, have a bigger pool of athletes to choose from here. So the logic is generally they're better ball clubs because they have better talent here. So it really gives a chance for you to see how your team gets in those situations, but allows the team itself to battle through and get those adversity moments that really make a team gel sometimes.
Most definitely, I could agree with that statement for sure.
Absolutely. So, so talk a little bit about this year's team. What's I know you guys are about a month in right now as far as the season goes and all that.
We had our first game on March 8th, so about 3 weeks. But we're 4-2 right now. We've played our 2 losses. We lost 4-2 to a good 4A Grants team. They're top 5 4A team. We lost to them in the Goddard tournament last weekend, 4-2, and we lost to 5 Alamogordo 4-2 as well. But we've had some good wins as well. We opened the season with a 12-2 victory over 4A Valencia.
Nice.
And then we played 5 Alamogordo the first time, beat them 16-11. So we've had some good wins. We've had 1 5A win, 2 4A wins, a 10-run rule over Eunice, which is a good ball club.
Yeah.
But like I said, we've had a good team this year so far. The good morale, good energy in the dugout. The kids have been playing real hard. My coaching staff has been, top notch, and I couldn't be happy with the first 6 games so far. It's been pretty solid.
That's awesome. It's great to hear. What as far as the team makeup, you pretty as far as senior heavy, a lot of leadership, a younger team. What's kind of the makeup of this year's ball club?
We have 4 seniors, but I'd say we're more junior heavy. We got a lot of juniors.
So this is kind of in the building, and you could see this team making a run here because, like you said, if they're junior heavy, that means they're going to be senior heavy next year.
Exactly. If you look at our stats, our top 2 pitchers, our junior Tegan Maloney and junior Javier Yepes. If you look at our batting average, Tegan Maloney leads in all offensive category, and then Yepes is right there below him.
Nice.
We've got 17 stolen bases as a team, hitting 306 as a team through 6 games. But if you look at our stats and look at our top leaders, most of those are the juniors, Tegan Maloney and Javier Yepes.
Good deal. So what's looking at this Colts team strengths? Are they a strong bullpen? They're more of a hitting club? Are they kind of balanced? What's kind of the tendencies of this year's ball club?
You know what? I've seen some positives of both. We're not there yet totally with our offense and our pitching, but whenever our bats are hot, they're hot, and when our pitchers are on, they're on. And I haven't seen them both connect at the same time, but when they do, it's going to be scary.
Yeah. That's something, and I'm not, to me, that's one of the major differences in baseball and softball. I mean, the ball, but but the strategy-wise, because in softball, the way the mechanics of softball pitches are, in theory, a softball pitcher doesn't need the rest like a baseball pitcher does, just because of the mechanics of the way the pitch goes. So that being said, in softball, if you have one hot pitcher, you could ride that through the playoffs here. Baseball's a whole nother animal here. You got to have a bullpen. One pitcher will not get it done. That might get you in the playoffs because of rotation, but because of baseball and the way the pitching is and the rotation, you've got to, if you got one pitcher, then you've got to strategize on when exactly you want to put that pitcher, especially when you get into postseason style play. So in baseball, you got to have a few pitchers because to go deep in playoffs. Otherwise, you're gonna be worrying about graduation after this instead of postseason.
Since we're talking about bullpen, our bullpen, it's getting better. Like I said, we have our two top guys that throw the distance for us. But we have 4 or 5 guys out of the bullpen that are getting better every bullpen and every game. So it's not there yet, but it's a work in progress.
Now, do you get in at high school level? And this is where I'm a little naive because I played hockey and stuff. I watched baseball, but I wasn't a big player of it. Right. At the high school level, do you get into the where you get into the majors? Like, okay, these are my middle reliever guys. Right. These are my close. I mean, does it get that deep in high school baseball, or is it no? Most of our guys generally go. Because they don't play a full 9 innings, so the strategy's a little bit different. Right. But how does that work? Do you have? Is it that deep in high school, or is it a little different?
It can be. That kind of fluctuates year to year. Obviously now since there's a pitch count, you're only allowed to throw 120 pitches in a game.
So that adds a huge wrinkle.
Which I think is good. Because it helps the health of the kids' arms.
It's for the health of the kids, absolutely.
But on a good day, we could probably throw 2 or 3 pitchers in a game and be fine. Sometimes 2. Rarely do I throw one guy the whole game. I just don't like to put that much pressure or that much stress on a kid's arm.
And like you said, you're going to need them down the road here.
Exactly.
And so let's especially if there's a comfortable lead and you're like, all right, we can kind of play defense a little bit here.
Exactly. Yeah, but I guess to answer your question, that all depends on numbers. If I have a bigger roster and a bigger team, I can, specialized starter, mid-relief, closer, stuff like that. But for right now, I just have kind of starters and relievers for now,
Yeah, and you rotate them as needed.
Exactly.
And if a starter could absolutely come in mid-game for relief here or something like that. But also, too, it's because, let's face it, when they get to that level at majors, their roles, their things are more established. In high school, it's not uncommon in football for a guy to play linebacker and play wide receiver or something or tight end. That's the same thing in baseball here. They're gonna they could. Do you have a good utility guy? Because every baseball team has to have that one guy that can kind of do it all and put him in wherever you need to get a hole in the line kind of thing.
You know what? I don't have one specifically. I have 3 or 4 guys.
Well, that's even better.
But, for an example, like Tegan Maloney, he plays shortstop, he pitches. Javier Yepes, he pitches, plays shortstop, second, third. I got a freshman from Roswell, Rodolfo Nye, he can play second, he can play short, third, left, right, center. So, I got 4 or 5 guys that can play multiple positions, and so we're very versatile in that element that we can move guys around for the strengths of whatever scenario that we have.
Absolutely. One of the things that's kind of unique to NMMI is because, it's the Institute. You guys, the Colts and the Broncos, which is the junior college athletic program here. Obviously you kind of share a lot of real estate there and do a lot of is there a lot of opportunities with working with the varsity team on some, or the Bronco team rather, not varsity team, the Bronco team, on obviously, but like practicing, scrimmaging, does some of that go on, or do you guys know it's the high school program, the college program, they do not intermingle, or is there a little bit of joint work there?
No, they're just kind of at a whole nother level than what we're at. We share the same facilities.
Sure.
There's 2 guys that played for me last year that walked on that are part of the Bronco baseball team.
Gotcha.
But as for us, like playing against each other and stuff like that, no, we don't.
I just didn't know if there was like a day where they, hey, we're going to go and scrimmage with these guys or practice with these guys. Because I imagine as a high school coach, that's a valuable
most definitely
experience. Letting your players get to see how, hey, keep it at it. This is what you're up. This is your next level here. When you do, if this is what you want to pursue.
Right.
And plus, I imagine allows some of the Bronco coaches to start scouting your players and saying, "Yeah, I could see that guy fitting real nicely on my ball
Right.
club."
No, that's a good idea. Good thought. I might have to run that across Coach Cook and see if he'd want to do that one day.
That'd be cool. But again, if you're the weather's real nice right now. If you love baseball, I invite you to come on out. Start next Thursday. Get on out there. What time's your game? Your first game?
Our game is at 7:00 p.m. against
I knew it was a
Roswell
night game. I couldn't remember
Mm-hmm.
what. And it'll be at the NME ball fields
Yes,
out
sir.
here. You drive by them every day, probably. And come on, it's a beautiful ballpark. But if you've never actually been in there and sat and gotten a seat and watched a game or hung out there, it's a great place to. I know. What about 2 years ago? They kind of redid the whole field and everything.
It's been about.
It ain't been that long, I don't think.
No, it's been about because I graduated there. I played for Coach Cook there in 15 in the year I left. So I would believe it was the fall of 15 when they got that field.
And so it's a beautiful field. They've done. I mean, it's a great place to go watch a ball game, and and you're going to get 3 days of just fun high school baseball. Teams from all over the region really are going to be here, and plus it's cool too because if you want to see some of the other JV, Artesia, Roswell, they're all going to be in action this weekend of the tournament. So I know. There's going to be a lot of families want to see their kids in there. So definitely come out and see some great baseball here. As far as tickets and all that stuff, they just get them at the games?
We sell them at the gate. We have a little commemorative card we'll print out that'll be a 3-day pass you can buy for $15.
Okay.
Or pay $6 per day, get you in for all 3 games that day.
Nice. So it's a lot of fun. If you go out there and I guarantee you're going to have a lot of fun. You come and meet the players, talk to the families, everything out there. It's a real family environment. Probably even more so with NMMI because you have out of town, you know what I mean, and the host families, and so it legit is more like family type stuff because they not only do they practice together, they do everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a unique experience for you too as a coach? And obviously, you come from the system, played through the system, but other high schools, these kids go home at night. They go in. Where at NMMI, I mean, when they go home at night, they're going to the same place. You know what I mean? Is that's probably a good thing in some because it's as far as the gelling process of a team, that making up the chemistry, the camaraderie. You kind of because of just what NMMI is, have a leg up there a little bit,
right?
Where some of that chemistry is already forming because they know each other from outside of the team here.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think it plays a huge part. They wake up together, they march together, they eat breakfast together. They're together 24/7. Some of the guys are actually roommates too, so they even sleep in the same room. I mean, they're almost attached.
A lot of time to talk baseball. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. I think it plays a huge role. Plus, where your guys are going to be at all times. So you don't have to worry about. On a weekend, them going out and getting into mischief. You know where they're going to be. They got curfew. Everything's pretty set schedule.
And teams will police themselves. Especially if they got good chemistry. So that kind of is already established. Right. And that's part of that team chemistry. As a manager, as a coach, you're the one guiding the ship and everything. But ideally, especially when you start getting senior, more leadership heavy teams, your role backs a little bit. Where you're still X's and O's and who's this and that and strategy, but a lot of times your team leaders start taking over some of the other roles, some of the getting people motivated. If someone on the team's kind of not jiving with the team, a lot of times those youth leaders are the ones that bring them back into the fold or come in where you as a and to be honest, they probably can get to them where you as a coach cannot because as a peer level. They can. It's no different when we were younger. We listened to our buddies, we didn't. You know what I mean? You took more stock in your buddy's opinion than you did your parents or coach or something.
Right.
So I think from that side of things, that's an advantage for NMMI and for Colt baseball and things. So and to be honest, that's probably what teams that win championships. It's generally not teams that's loaded to the gilt with superstar talent. Sure, that happens. But generally speaking, it's the team with the best chemistry, the team with the best
cohesion.
Not the best skilled players per se, but the best collective group with putting all of their assets and weaknesses together. They work well together. And
I agree.
That's it's football, any of these other same team, some of these teams that win Super Bowls, you're like, man, they didn't have a star, nobody. But you know what? The chemistry, the gelling, the leadership was all perfect. And that's what it was, the perfect storm. And that's really what wins championships.
I agree.
You can't buy a team, as much as the professional sports try. You really can't do it at the end of the day. It's about that chemistry, about that bond that the players form, and that will carry them through the hard moments and over those adversarial moments that every sports team overcomes.
Right.
So that's the cool part. So come see that side of it. Come see all of that, and come. And of course, if you have students that are maybe come now that NMMI has the Prep Academy here with the middle school. If you're looking to want to talk about the opportunities at NMMI, there'll be a lot of people there that could steer you in some of that. So of course, granted, the coaches side more athletics, but there'll be rest of the NMMI alum and folks that'll be out there doing stuff.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, good deal. Sertoma. If folks are interested in being more part of Sertomans, what's the best way to? Do you guys have a?
We are always looking for new members.
Yeah, monthly or weekly meetings, or when you guys meet.
What we do have is we have an every Friday meeting, which is open to all the membership. We hold it at the back room of the Elks Lodge.
Okay.
And if you come in there, you can get a meal. We have like a little mini spin the wheel way to gamble, raise more money for the club.
That's right.
Also, we'll have a speaker every Friday. We have the committee programs committee will put on their calendar different speakers. So we're hearing from people in the community every Friday. So then we have a board meeting every month, and we are looking for kind of a younger club. So if you're, and I say younger, I don't mean 27, 28. I mean, if men and women in their late 40s, early 50s are going to be the younger people in our club. Our oldest member is 94, and I think our average is in the 80s. But
so looking to get some youth membership in there to kind of help you, because let's face it, some point people, and I'm guessing some of the folks have been doing, they're more seasoned. They've been doing this for 20 years, and
no, they've been doing it for 60 years.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
We just had Greg Segovia celebrate his 60th year at Roswell Sertoma.
So and sometimes they want to take a break a little bit, so we need the next generation to pick up the baton and keep moving forward with this.
But unlike all the other clubs, I say all because I'm very partial to Sertoma, we have fun there. Like, it's not just raise money, do work, and try to do good for the community. Yes, it is, but
it's a social club too.
It's a social club, and we do fun stuff like get up at 7:30 in the me twice a year and go pick up trash.
Lost when you said we do fun stuff like getting up at 7:30. People are like, are you crazy?
Well, okay, so some of the past presidents will go out before everyone gets there and throw the little bottles of vodka and orange juice out with the trash.
So they make a game
so it's kind
out
of like
it.
an Easter
egg. So we
hunt
take our work and make fun with it and have it. We don't turn it all into, we turn it into a social event and have fun.
It is.
And you end up, who knows, we win prizes and stuff just for coming out and clean up trash.
and feel good because we do help the community in so many
you guys work
ways.
hard, but you make fun with it. And it's not, it's a labor of love, and it's just people, and it's just as much, they're cutting it up when they're eating together or when they're out working in the field or doing whatever they got to do out there. So.
And so go online, RoswellSertoma.org.
Okay.
There's a tab that says forms. It's a membership application. Submit it.
Pretty easy to find. RoswellSertoma.org. Probably just Google Roswell Sertoma, and then it'll just say .org, and then you hit it. And
exactly.
Then you can go and then do that. And then, of course, starting next Thursday. What time's the first games of the tournament start on Thursday of next week?
I believe Eunice and Capitan open the tournament at 10 a.m.
Okay, so if you can get up there bright and early, 10 a.m.
10, 1, 4, and 7.
And start seeing, and I imagine you can get probably per game, or you can get like a tournament pass or any, whatever more convenient for you. You get it there at the gate, and that way get that tournament pass and get you your butt cushion and a good
watch a lot of baseball.
Good spot in the bleachers, and have a great 3 day of baseball watching.
To the parents, I want to say bring a handful of your singles because we'll have concession.
Okay,
well priced.
That's right, good deal. And again, all that supporting Sertoma Club and probably Colts and the program and all that there. So when you buy your sodas and candy and popcorn and all that good stuff,
yes.
And peanuts and Cracker Jacks, it is baseball.
Absolutely.
But come on out and come check out some baseball. So is that When's your next game? When you guys not back in action until the tournament, or you got some games this weekend that y'all are?
So we're on spring break this week.
Okay.
Kids get back on Sunday. We'll have a quick little practice on Monday, and then we'll play a single game against Artesia on that Tuesday. Practice Wednesday, and there's a Sertoma.
And that's a unique problem you guys have, because I imagine because you have so many families that people leave town for spring break here, so you guys really can't probably have any practice or team activities during that time, where your other high schools are technically low. Generally, a lot of times they'll be able to practice during that spring break week. So
we have 6 local kids, and obviously, I would love to practice. It's hard, but I just tell these guys, hey, you're gonna be off for a week. Sure. Make sure you throw, make sure you hit, make sure you stay, in shape, because I'll be able to tell on Monday when we practice who practiced and who didn't.
So basically, that practice back has probably knocked the rust off, a week's worth of rust off a little bit.
It'll see
get back into the routine.
It'll say who was sitting on their butt all weekend or all week and who wasn't.
Yep. But the practice will tell.
The practice will tell, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, good news is those Colt baseball players, because of the life they live right now, they're probably going to be ready. They're pretty, they live regimented lives already. So
I think we'll be okay.
They're pretty organized and pretty. They've got a good handle on their schedules and things like that.
I think if they're at NIMI, they're good kids. They're good students.
Absolutely. This is and that's just it. You got a team full of great character athletes here and future leaders of America here. All of them, whether they never touch a baseball bat again, every one of those students will probably going off to do some great things in this community.
Amen.
Wherever they go. So,
yes.
I agree.
Excellent. But then look up Sertoma Club. Come on down, RoswellSertoma.org if you want to learn some more information and become a member, or if you want to donate. You get involved. Maybe you're like, well, I can't do baseball next weekend, but I'd love supporting them. Here's a check for $100. Go put it towards scholarships.
That would be
happy
neat
to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want to, make them earn your money, go to the baseball games and have fun and buy some popcorn and candy and all that good stuff, and cheer on these teams, and who knows, you might be watching a player. Next thing you know, a couple years from now, you might be seeing them on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball or something like that.
Never know.
You never know. There's, especially NIMI, they've had a few players and things, and some of these other schools too.
Right.
You're some of these future World Series MVPs. They've been known to float around the New Mexico region playing baseball.
Most definitely.
I've heard of a few.
I can think of a couple.
Yeah, absolutely. So, is there anything we missed, guys, about either baseball or Sertoma Club here? Anything that we wanted to mention or share that I spaced on or didn't get a chance to talk about?
Just come join, have a lot of fun at Roswell Sertoma.
Yeah, come on down, bring your baseball. It's hopefully if the weather like it is right now, knocking on wood, hopefully stays like this.
Let's just
next
hope it's not windy.
Should be a beautiful 3-day weekend of baseball. Getting out there, work on your tan and enjoy the game and have some fun.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Mike.
Good luck for the tournament this season here, and hopefully we're talking about some blue trophies here maybe in a few months.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Month or so.
About a month.
Time's going so by quick. You're like,
flies
wait a minute,
by.
it's like next month.
It really is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, it is 7:48. Let's pause for news, Kim Commando update, your Chaves County sports update, and Wall Street business update. Don't go away.
Now for your Pecos Valley news update. I'm Jared Cirillo. We begin today in Artesia, where the animal shelter is said to be making progress in controlling a parvo outbreak that we first reported last week. The Daily Press is now reporting that emergency procedures that were implemented at the facility are starting to ease up a little bit. The shelter has since resumed limited business. The shelter is continuing to work with local veterinarians to fight the parvovirus outbreak. They're also integrating new cleaning and intake procedures. Animals are still not being accepted through the front doors, so you do need to make an appointment. Oil and gas operations continue to ramp up throughout the Permian Basin. On Monday, the Energy Information Administration reported the Permian Basin would add 8,000 barrels of oil per day in the month of April for a total of more than 6.1 million barrels every day. That's the most growth and overall production that any other shale region in the entire country. The U.S. has now long overtaken Russia and Saudi Arabia in oil production over the last 5 years. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
The most invasive thing that could happen the next time you're on a plane isn't the person in front of you reclining. It's data gathering. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by Keeper, the password manager you can access from any device. Don't get hacked. Get half off personal and family plans at keepersecurity.com/Kim. You may not realize that airlines are collecting and tracking your data. Your booking details, name, email, phone number, and passport are a given, as is the weight of your bag and you, depending on the airline. Use the onboard Wi-Fi? Yep, the sites you visit, what you search for, the apps you use, and more is being monitored. Other things airlines are collecting on you: what you drink or eat, and when your beverage is empty, your flight history, and complaints to see if you're a good passenger or not. What movies you like to watch for some in-flight entertainment. Why so focused on flyer data? It's all about the cold, hard cash. It's another way that any company will repackage your data and sell it off to anyone. Join 500,000 folks who get TechSmart the easy way every single day with my free newsletter. Sign up now at getkim.com. Still using weak passwords? It's time to level up your security with Keeper. Keeper makes it easy to create, store, and securely share strong passwords and passkeys for all your accounts. Plus, protect other login data, files, IDs, credit cards, and more. There's even an option to securely share passwords with family, friends, and colleagues. It's the password manager I use and trust. Keeper offers the most robust encryption in the industry and uses zero-knowledge servers. That means encryption and decryption of data always occurs locally on your device. And if you run a business, Keeper makes it easy to deploy password security for every employee across every device. That's why Keeper is trusted by so many. The Keeper app has over 275,000 five-star reviews. Sign up today at keepersecurity.com/Kim and get half off Keeper's personal and family plans or 30% off a business plan. That's keepersecurity.com/Kim, keepersecurity.com/Kim. Don't get hacked. Get Keeper.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of cloud cover hanging around this morning, but we should start clearing up this afternoon. Pretty pleasant daytime highs today in the mid-70s and a little bit breezy. Overnight will be clear, mid-40s, and then we get sunshine on Friday, upper 70s to about 80 on the afternoon high. The upcoming weekend looks pretty good. Mix of sunshine and clouds Saturday and Sunday, getting windy. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Reports. The All-Star basketball games are taking place this weekend in Albuquerque, and that's how they do that these days, right after the season ends. The very next weekend, these guys still in basketball shape will be out on the court showing their stuff. And congratulations to Stephen McCaskill from the Roswell Coyotes, a 6'5 senior, will be playing on the green team for Class 5A, and that game will be Saturday afternoon at 4:15. All of this will take place at Volcano Vista High School. And all of these, by the way, are for seniors only. We'll get to the all-state selections later, which is all classifications. And congratulations to Brianna Lard from Hagerman. She is on the Class 1A, 2A girls basketball team. That game will be played at 4:30 Friday afternoon at Volcano Vista. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. U.S. retail sales are expected to rise as much as 3.5% this year, a slower pace than 2023. Industry body National Retail Federation said on Wednesday, as sticky inflation dampens hopes of a strong recovery in consumer spending. General Mills topped market expectations for third quarter sales and profit on Wednesday, backed by higher prices for its breakfast cereals, snack bars, and pet food products that helped cushion a blow from slowing demand. Shares of the Minnesota-based company rose 7% in early trading after it reaffirmed its annual sales and profit targets for a third time this year. 1,400 workers at an Amazon warehouse in Coventry, Central England, are on strike as part of a long-running dispute over pay and union recognition. Britain has seen wider industrial unrest over the last 2 years as employees demand better wage rises to help offset high inflation. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Check out some of the bargains you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market. Tubs of Bluebonnet spread are 2 for $5, and boxes of original Kraft mac and cheese are 88 cents each. In produce, large Cantagold cantaloupes are 2 for $4, and snack-size Haas avocados are 3 for $1. In the meat department, family packs of sirloin cut pork chops are $1.99 a pound, and family packs of fryer thighs are just 99 cents a pound. These are just some of the savings you'll find this week at your local Farmers Country Market.
Sign up today for the 2-day Reload Camp with Coach Tom George, Saturday and Sunday, April 13th and 14th in Artesia, New Mexico.
The goal of Reload is to take our camp to locations that don't always have a lot of opportunities.
The 2-day Reload Camp is for all ages, all positions, and features college, NFL, and local coaches.
They do it because they want to impact young people. I'm not saying every professional and college coach is like that, but the ones that come to my camp are, because I don't have it any other way.
Saturday and Sunday, April 13th and 14th in Artesia, New Mexico. Sign up today at QBimpact.com.
Most of us know the story of the Good Samaritan. A Samaritan man, someone who was thought to be lesser than, stopped alongside a dangerous road to help someone that had been left for dead. He didn't have to stop. 3 supposedly religious and righteous men passed the man by, but the Samaritan stopped, took him for help, paid for it, and promised to come back and pay for anything else. He went out of his way. We would say he went the extra mile. Jesus used this parable to show how his people should treat those they encounter. I found this quote that kind of sums up the story. Always be kind. If you see someone falling behind, walk beside them. If someone is being ignored, find a way to include them. If someone's been knocked down, then lift them up. Always remind people of their worth. Be who you needed when you were going through hard times yourself. What a great quote. Just one small act of kindness could mean the world to someone.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Chick Days are back at Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply, March 22nd and 23rd. Buy a 25-pound bag of Purina Start and Grow and get 3 free chicks, or double up and get 6 free chicks with a 50-pound bag. Plus, the Stellar Satellite will be on hand from 8 to 11 with coffee and treats, and a portion of the proceeds to benefit CASA. Then from 11 to 5, Calichi's will be there with drinks, floats, sundaes, nachos, and their famous hot dogs. Come take a peep at Chick Days, March 22nd and 23rd at Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply, 1105 East 2nd in Roswell.
You are 13.8% more likely to die on your birthday. Think about that the next time you want to celebrate your birthday month. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:57. Got a few minutes before top of the hour news. So I've got to address this real quick. So yesterday, if you were listening to the show right about the start of the 9 o'clock hour, and Roy was on the radio with me talking, and he revealed something on the radio that just was another layer of Roy I did not know about, and it blew me away. And he kind of hides me about it. But today Jocelyn is here, and Jocelyn is Roy's sister, and Jocelyn is Roy. They're both my video producers for the show here, and so Roy's off today, so Jocelyn's here. So I got to tell you what Roy told me, and this blew me away. So Roy told me that now, do you all have the same mother or different mother?
Different mother.
Okay, so that would explain the story then. Roy was telling me, he goes, his mother is Spanish, Mexican, and grew up, and he goes, yeah, I speak fluent Spanish. And I'm like, because it all started with Trace Inviernos because he didn't want to put the accent on it. And he just said, he goes, I feel bad about, putting that accent. I feel fake. He goes, I speak fluent Spanish. I was like, you do?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. I was like, you mean you could talk? Like, he goes, yes. I was like, I did not know that. Why are you hiding that fact? That's an amazing asset for you to have.
It's actually a funny story because he translated between my dad and my stepmother.
Okay.
So when they would argue,
he was
translating. And
so did she speak English?
She spoke broken English.
Okay. So poor Roy, he had to translate everything. Wow.
Yeah, he is fluent in Spanish.
Okay. But he was like, he goes, yeah, I don't like to tell people, or don't like to.
Yeah, I don't know why he doesn't share that.
Exactly. You don't know how much of an asset that is to have to speak fluently Spanish and English just in your own day-to-day, especially if you live here in Southeast New Mexico.
Right. And I speak some Spanish, but he's totally fluent in both both languages.
And I told him, I was like, you realize we could use some of that around here, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, none of us dummies can speak Spanish.
He's super smart, and he doesn't tell people a lot of things that I'm like, you need to tell people that. Because he's super
So what I'm going to do, because he doesn't, and I get what he's saying here. He doesn't like when people say, hey, start talking Spanish, you know? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of our Evelyn or Vidi or someone, and when they come in one morning, I'm just going to have them walk into that room and start conversing in Spanish to make him converse back in Spanish so I can see Roy in action, because I want to see Roy in action. That blows me away.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing bad, but I was just like,
he's
where
pretty
was he
fluent.
hiding this little nugget? I mean, come on. Okay, well, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. That's all. Jocelyn was nervous. I'm going to bring it on the radio. So, what did Roy do? It's 8 o'clock. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Russia fired 31 ballistic and cruise missiles at Kiev early this morning. It was the first attack on the Ukrainian capital in some 44 days. Officials say air defenses shot down all the incoming missiles, though there were some injuries from falling debris. Police in Boise, Idaho, are still on a manhunt for a white supremacist prison inmate and an accomplice after the accomplice fired at officers outside a hospital.
Boise police officers responded to the hospital to reports of an active shooter, with one officer ultimately firing his duty weapon at an armed individual near the entrance to the emergency department. That individual was later determined to be an Idaho Department of Corrections employee. He was not seriously injured.
Police Chief Ron Weiniger heard on KIVI. The U.S. has completed its first evacuation of American citizens from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. That's where armed gangs have stepped up their attacks. More than 15 Americans were airlifted to the Dominican Republic. Transportation officials now conducting a review of the 10 biggest airlines and whether they're making money off of the sharing of personal information from passengers.
The Department of Transportation says it will take a look at Delta, United, American, Southwest, and the 6 other top airlines to see how they collect and use information about customers. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says airline passengers should have confidence that their personal information is not being shared improperly with third parties or mishandled by employees. The trade group Airlines for America says the airlines take customers' personal information security very seriously. Donna Warder, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up by 265 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Donald Trump's indictment proves that saving America is not going to be easy. There are entrenched powers that are fighting this with everything they've got. They want to keep control over the country, the narrative, and the nation's money supply. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst, a Christian author, and evangelical leader. I speak to millions of people every week, people just like you. You see, what the elites are doing is using inflation and government handouts and now central bank...
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Criminal referrals of the Biden family to the Justice Department, which is a largely symbolic act. Florida Democrat Jared Moskowitz says it's all a show.
They just want to do these hearings. It's not leading to impeachment. They're lying to their base. It's not going to happen.
The White House is calling the inquiry a charade and told Republicans to move on. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Congress now working on a $1.2 trillion spending package that lawmakers hope to approve before funding expires at midnight tomorrow. News and analysis at townhall.com. Congressman Mike Gallagher is accusing China of spreading lies about a bill that would force the sale of TikTok to owners not controlled by China.
Whether it be during testimony on Capitol Hill,
the CEO was not truthful when he testified before Congress,
or the pop-up ad claiming the bill in question amounts to an outright ban on TikTok.
That is, of course, not true. What we're trying to force is a divestiture.
Gallagher says to deny TikTok is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party is to misunderstand one important reality.
There is no such thing as a private company in China.
Congressman Gallagher chairs the House Select Committee on China and was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Bob Agnew reporting.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with Senate Republicans for about 45 minutes yesterday. It happened in a closed-door video conference at their weekly lunch. Netanyahu unhappy with Senate Majority Leader Schumer's call for new Israeli elections. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The Travelician, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday.
Good to be back in the Deuce seat.
It is. It's a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, everybody. Sun is shining.
Grass is still brown.
Some parts.
Yeah.
Trees have already bloomed and fell off.
Right? I don't know what's going on. Flowers are just out, in,
right.
out, in.
But at least it's officially spring now. Like now we can say we don't say winter anymore because as of what 9:06 p.m. Wednesday night or Tuesday night is spring starting.
Flowers are like a confused lesbian at Lilith Fair. I'm out. I'm in. I'm out. I'm in.
Yeah, I think was it last week or week before? I was walking down the alley, in between going to buildings for meetings, and I was noticing all the trees were bloomed around the area, and I was like, "Oh man, this is too early for this." I think it's gonna be confusing spring and summer after
the cherry blossoms were out in full force, and then I don't know what I'm thinking. I guess the white ones are also called cherry blossoms. I don't know if those have
I don't know
a different
the
name.
whole world on that.
But yeah, the white flowers fell off in mass, and it was just like it looked like Roswell had a light snow all over as you drive around town. There's just a bunch of white little petals in the gutters.
It's interesting. Speaking of cherry blossoms, it's D.C. Washington, D.C. is known for their cherry blossoms, and it is that season for the cherry blossoms. Usually it's part of March, first part of April is when they start. And so, and they're all along what's called the tidal basin there in D.C. You go down by the river and you see it's really pretty. However, there is a couple of those trees are, they're older and things like that. So I was watching a news story the other day on one particular tree. It's called the stump.
Okay.
And it's there on the tidal basin. And this is going to be the last spring bloom for the stump. And so it's literally one of those cherry blossom trees, and it's a stump. But there's like this one branch that comes out with cherry blossoms on it. So it blooms. It does bloom. But it's been there for years, and it's kind of I don't say Easter egg, but it's a thing to go there when you go, oh, let's see Stumpy. I think they call it Stumpy. Okay. It has a name and everything.
It probably has its own social media accounts.
But they announced that they're going to, because of the tidal basin, it's receding and climate change or something, they've got to do some work there at the tidal basin, and they're going to have to pull a bunch of these trees and replant or replace them. And they're going to replace them with the of course, these are scientists, so like, we took the the mom is going to be stumpy, and we take, they're taking, so it's going to be still attached to these trees, but they're new trees.
They couldn't transplant it elsewhere?
Well, it's stumpy. I think stumpy's dying. That's why it's stumpy. Okay. It's really a sick tree. It's stumping out. So it's at the end of its life,
right.
I think.
Well, it sounds like that one little branch basically just grew out of what was the dead tree itself.
The phoenix of this.
Right.
Exactly.
So there's only so much life you can suck out of a dead stump.
Yeah. And so that one and several other trees in that area.
That's the name of my book.
And so they're going to have to do. So they're kind of, it's a sad era. And so now it's like the farewell tour for Stumpy over there and all that. So it just when you said the cherry blossom, it just reminded me of that whole. I was like, oh yeah, I saw a whole thing about the DC cherry blossom the other day.
I can't remember if I told you, and I can't remember if I told you on or off air, but there was a story last week about a certain kind of tree that has become a nuisance, or it's known as a nuisance tree.
Okay.
But it's because a lot of families like in the 60s, 70s thought it was a pretty tree. It grew robust, and they liked the foliage.
But it's
of
not
it.
native to the area.
Right. They transplanted it, but that transplant really took root, and now it's sort of like become a nuisance.
Overcrowding the native plants. Yeah.
And the reason this particular tree was in the news, it's called, and you can look this up, it's called the Callery pear, spelled Callery.
Okay.
Pear.
I'm guessing someone's name.
Maybe, I don't know.
John Callery.
But it's known, the tree is known because it emits a very specific odor.
Really? Is it just this one tree or this
It's
style of tree?
It's this one type of tree.
Okay.
Not this one tree.
Okay.
It's
so
this one type of tree.
It's to this breed of tree.
Right. I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about, if I'm able to talk about it on the radio, the odor with which this tree emits.
Can we? Is it?
I'll put it this way.
Human?
It's
animal,
the only reason
or food?
that you and me are here today is because of a viscous liquid.
Okay.
I
got it.
Okay.
I got it.
It
smells
like that.
Okay.
People are saying all over. I'll tell you off air what they're saying, but they're saying these trees smell of seminal fluid, seminal vesicles. Okay.
I get it.
And it's become a problem because it's like you just walk into these streets, and it's just you're smacked in the face. Pardon my phrasing, with the smell of that.
So are they trying to get rid of the trees, or what are they trying to do?
They're basically saying if you have any on your property, take steps to get rid of it. We're trying to curb the spread of the Callery pear.
They sure are pretty.
I don't know. I kind of like the smell.
All right then. Okay.
Kind of nice.
I'm waiting for the festival.
The Seminole Vesicle Festival.
Oh man. Well.
Yep.
Oh man.
On that note,
I'd like to be a fly on that chamber of commerce. But anyway.
There's a church camp I used to go to called Falls Creek in Oklahoma, and there's a big tree in the middle of this camp, and it was known as the gum tree because everybody would take their gum and just for decades slap their gum on the tree, and so it's caked with layers
delicious of chewed up
of gum
gum
tree. I can only imagine, and it just that's got to be. Hey, everybody, come out and check the gum tree.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like those walls in Europe where everyone puts their gum on or whatever, and then people go licking it and stuff. I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
Just looking for a good time.
I mean, why? I mean, what are you trying to do there? I mean, I guess get a rise. You got it. I don't get it, but anyway.
Yeah, especially if you're over there. There's so many frogs. Find a frog to lick.
That's right.
It's a way better use of your time.
That's right. Frolic in a field and lick a frog. Let me give you the rundown for this out of this show. We'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a little bit. Yesterday, I had a great conversation with Yvette Harrell, former representative representing New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District. She is running for that seat currently as well, too. So we had a great conversation with her, and we'll play that for you here in just a few. We'll also get you up to date with the newses of the local, national, variety, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. If you'd like to help out Sean's family, is it up on our
yes, I put it up on the 106.5 Facebook page. Again, if
his father-in-law passed away, lost his battle to cancer a couple days ago here, and we're looking for some support for the family here to cover funeral costs.
The GoFundMe is in my name, but I want to make it very clear it's attached to Carletta's bank account. So
Gotcha.
all funds that are donated to this GoFundMe will go to her and the family and covering the funeral expenses.
Yeah, everything is above board there. But if you'd like to help out or share that to pass the word along, that'd be appreciated. There.
Absolutely.
Good deal. It is 8:14. We took a little trip. Here is your weather and the mighty Mississippi. We'll be back.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of cloud cover hanging around this morning, but we should start clearing up this afternoon. Pretty pleasant daytime highs today in the mid-70s and a little bit breezy. Overnight will be clear, mid-40s, and then we get sunshine on Friday, upper 70s to about 80 on the afternoon high. The upcoming weekend looks pretty good. Mix of sunshine and clouds Saturday and Sunday, getting windy. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 51 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 59% with winds calm at the moment. Mostly sunny day. Expect a high of 74 degrees. Winds will be out of the northwest 5 to 10 this morning, 10 to 15 miles per hour for later this afternoon. Tonight, mostly clear. Expect an overnight low of 44 degrees with west winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Friday night, partly cloudy, looking at an overnight low of 47 with north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Saturday, not bad temperature-wise. Going to be a little breezy for the afternoon, but more of that for Sunday than Saturday. Partly cloudy, 77 on Saturday. Southwest winds 10 to 15 in the morning, 15 to 20 Saturday afternoon. Sunday, we are looking at mostly sunny skies and a high of 70. Windy with patchy blowing dust. Expected to see that Sunday afternoon, and that actually rolls into early Sunday evening as well, till about 7 p.m. But for Sunday night, mostly clear with an overnight low of 39 degrees. Winds will remain windy. And then Monday, when you head back to work and school, mostly sunny, 61 and breezy. All right, it is 16 minutes after 8 o'clock. And real quick, do want to remind you that the folks at Albertsons Market is having their Easter Bash 2024 Saturday, March the 30th from noon to 3 p.m. at Albertsons on 2nd and Union, the Albertsons on 2nd here in Roswell. They're going to have family games, food, and, of course, bags o' candy. Plus food trucks. Stellar Coffee will be there, cotton candy, popcorn, and face painting. You can even get your picture taken with the Easter Bunny. Best of all, it's all free, and that's going to be at Albertsons Easter Bash Saturday, March 30th. So you got about a week to get her done. Noon until 3 p.m. And again, that's going to be an ecstatic time at Albertsons on 2nd and Union here in Roswell. Bring the family out and have a good time. All right, it is 8:17. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll play our interview with Yvette Harrell, running for Congress, former Congresswoman as well. That's coming up next. Don't go away.
A comedian once said, "No one can tell me anything, not even myself." Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smotherman for The Joy of Marriage.
You know, most people stop listening and start forming an answer or response when someone's talking to them within 7 seconds, so they miss most of the information.
John 10:27 says, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me."
You know, when Julie and I were preparing for this, she looked right at me after I spoke for a while and said, "What?" I guess we all have work to do in listening. But you know what? Just like learning to know God takes time and focus and to know His voice, it's going to take time and focus to really get to know our spouse and to really start enjoying and loving marriage.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
Hi, this is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture, and I want to tell you about our store-wide sale happening now. All items in every department are on sale. Upgrade your living space with power reclining sofas and love seats or beautiful sectionals with charging ports. Create ambience with amazing table and floor lamps. Get that long-awaited restful night's sleep with the new Serta mattress. Every department is on sale from our existing prices, so come down to Glenn's Furniture on the corner of Union and Alameda, where delivery is free since 1953.
It's one of those things we've all had on our mind. No matter how much we want to ignore it, we all know that wisdom teeth can cause pain, teeth crowding, and even infection. Hi, this is Dr. Sarah Usher with Carabelli Dental. I am proud to be a part of an outstanding team who understands your concerns when considering wisdom teeth removal. Call us today and let our staff walk you through the process so that you are confident and prepared for your wisdom teeth removal. And don't worry, we have sedation dentistry options so that you can rest and feel at ease.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental. Call 575-622-4455.
A Greek-Canadian man invented the Hawaiian pizza. His name was Tex Colorado, and he's from Detroit. Here's Mike Winters.
And welcome back to the morning show. And joining us on the phone this morning here, former representative representing New Mexico District 2 and current candidate for New Mexico District 2 representative seat, Yvette Harrell on the phone this morning with us this morning. Good morning, Yvette. How are you doing today? It's good to talk to you again.
I know, Mike. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to get caught up and get on the radio with you.
Yeah, how's it's been a while. What's I know obviously you're on the campaign trail, but what's what you been up to here recently and since you kind of been out of the spotlight a little bit here but now on the campaign trail, just find out what you've been up to in the recent months here.
Yeah, we've, it seems like we just didn't stop. I mean, we announced, of course, last April when Speaker McCarthy came out. And then I really, Mike, taken advantage of being here in district because, the way they changed the district, I was in Congress, so I didn't have as much time to go and get acquainted and build relationships with people. So I decided, let me take this time while we're here. And so I've obviously spent a lot of time up in the South Valley, up in the Bernalillo County area where, the new district kind of extends to. And it's been very rewarding and really just so much fun. And so I feel good about all the traveling we're doing, but we're certainly meeting lots of new people, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's so cool to hear that part of it. But you're right. Kind of getting back to the raw deal side of the redistricting, it happened right when, really when you're up and going for running for re-election and then basically they just took your whole district and turned it on you. And and a very small percentage of what was your former district is actually still, in the current district. And so you had a lot of new faces and a lot of people that maybe weren't familiar fully with you in that first election cycle because, you technically weren't representing them before.
Right. I mean, that's a good way to say it for sure because you're right, because you're finishing out the term working on behalf of the original district and then at the same time trying to kind of connect with new people and potential voters, in the new district. And so, I think though we've really been able to really establish some great relationships. And I think, in general, I think not just in the district, but I think in New Mexico, I think kind of attitudes are changing a little bit. What I'm kind of hearing a lot more of when we're on the trail is not so much the priority of what party you are, but the priority of, economic security, border security, securing the families, the neighborhoods, and just those kitchen table issues that people are actually talking about regardless of party. And I think that is starting to be kind of the conversation that's resonating around the district for sure, but I'm hearing that from other parts of the state and quite honestly other parts of the country. Yeah.
And that's something too that your district deals with, it did before the redistrict, but even more so now too with the redistricting. I imagine a lot of people in the district too, border security things, because they're the people on the front lines in a lot of this stuff. So this is stuff that they're probably having more interest in than maybe people up north, if that makes sense.
That's right. I think really they're starting to understand just the the cost to the American family on this whole open border situation, the cost of human life in terms of the fentanyl, the human trafficking, drug trafficking, all of that, and then just the uptick in crime everywhere. And people are starting to look at the bigger picture and see, how are we going to house all these people? I mean, when you think about it, Mike, it's close to 8 million people who've gotten into our state illegally, not through the process, but illegally. And you think about that, that's, New Mexico has a population of just over 2 million, and you think 8 million people have now made their way into this nation. And I think I read something recently that said the population of people who've entered the nation illegally is more than the population of 36 states.
Oh, wow.
And it just makes no sense. And so I think there's really grave concern now as to how do we manage this? I mean, I think when we're seeing where schools are being shut down so they can use those facilities for housing illegals or in, hotels and all kinds of things. And suddenly, the reality of what are we doing to this country and who is in our country? And I think that's starting to resonate with people.
Yeah. And you're right. But I would even, we say that I think part of it too is people are starting to let's take the politics out of border security for a minute and just look at the details here and say, okay, sure, regardless of your thoughts on should we let people in, should we not let people in, help people, not help, take all of that out of the side for a second. Just forget all of the emotional side of it and just look from a purely logistical point and say, look, we're human beings. We always want to help people and want the best for all humans. And, I think all of us have that in our heart for the most part of wanting to do good. However, you got to look at it from a logistic standpoint and say, okay, where does that balance go? And all right, like you're talking about, when we're influxing in a very short period of time, the amounts of people coming in, and like you said, some of these numbers are bigger populations than over half the states in the union. That's a huge tax on resources and everything. And forget, whether you want to help or not, can we physically even do that with the resources? And that's to me, that's the big question first before you even get into the emotional side. It's like, yeah, I want to help people, sure, but can we? Can we physically do this? And that's the questions that I feel like we're not really asking. Everyone's just, or starting to ask now instead of, well, we just got to help people no matter what. I'm like, yeah, no matter what is a very broad term. We need to define no matter what. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
and it has to be realistic, and I think you're absolutely right. No, there isn't anybody I've ever met that doesn't want to help or a hand up, those types of things. But we're putting ourselves into a position where we can't even take care of our own infrastructure, our own, problems at home. And I think that's where it's starting to really resonate. We're seeing the cost of living, right now in New Mexico, every single family is paying about $1,000 a week more than they did 2-3 years ago because of inflation, because of the cost of groceries and food. And I think you kind of couple these additional costs with, now we're seeing this huge uptick in crime. Now we're seeing a lot of, stories where innocent people are being murdered. Mm-hmm. We're seeing, schools that are being, schools officials are concerned about the safety of the kids. Mm-hmm. And, all of this just kind of goes together. And you're right. It's time for common sense. Like we've got to make sure that we're securing New Mexico's future, securing, our children's future. And in so doing, we're going to have to look at how things are working and really put good policies into place or back away from just the emotional arguments and be realistic about what this means to New Mexico, but to America and our sovereignty and our safety as a whole. But, Mike, no one's talking about that much, the uptick in young men from China. It's 300% uptick of people who've gotten into this country they know of. And that should be very frightening for us to just, as Americans, to wonder who is here and what are their intentions.
Sure.
And to me, it says something about, I get it. There are a lot of people that want to just get to America to create a better life for themselves, their families.
And we love that part. Right. That part's the good part, yes.
Exactly. But I also think, on the other hand, back on 9/11, it only took 15 people to bring this country to its knees.
Absolutely.
And I think now when we can look at the bigger picture and go, oh, my gosh, so we don't know what's really going on. And I think now Americans, New Mexicans are starting to say, look, we need to have some checks and balances, improve the process naturally. But what's concerning to me is just with the recent court decision for the state of Texas, I feel like we're going to really see that flood of people because we've got so much border down there on the southern part of the state that there is wall in parts of it, and you and I have talked before, but there are areas where there's a quarter of a mile with no fencing or barbed wire fencing or just the Normandy fence, very, very easy to get through, get over. And I'm concerned about, farmers, ranchers, the communities down and that in our portion of the border that doesn't have the news people sitting there all the time with cameras rolling, doesn't have the drones sitting there, and I feel like it's just continually going to keep pushing more people to the New Mexico border.
Yeah. And I really think the people that, have the issues and things and where the mistake is, like you said, it's the emotional side comes into play. And it's like, oh, well, you don't this, you must not love this or that. And to me, it's a way bigger picture than that. And I look at it as, people love to talk about culture and you got to celebrate your culture and be proud of your culture. And that is true statements. I agree with that stuff. Where you come from, be proud of that and use that as your guide in life. These are all, human good things. However, what we're talking about here is more than that here. It's about, we were trying to preserve American culture. If you want to talk about cultures, we have a culture in America. Yeah, and that culture is different than any other place on the planet. And that culture really is, regardless of where you come from, regardless of were you born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or were you born in a log cabin with no clothes? That's our culture. That wherever you come from, if you are working hard, if you are doing the things to try to better yourself, you will succeed in this country. And you will. It's a guarantee, I think, if you do that.
That's right.
And what's happening now, it's not that we don't, we want to bring people that are looking for that same thing, looking for to make their way in the world. Unfortunately, what we're getting is that's the beacon, or that's the slide, the opening in the defense, so to speak, where the people that don't want that don't want America to have the values that it does, that really they want to incorporate to what they were from, and that's the problem. It's like, no, we want, bring us, you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry, the statement that we hear. What we don't want is you bringing Sharia law, your way of government, your way of governing to this country. We want to preserve our way of governing. And people right now are trying to slip culture and skin color and that kind of thing and saying that's what you're against. No, it's the fact that I want my laws and I want the freedoms that I enjoy in this country to stay that way. And by more people coming in, instituting their laws, that goes away slowly. And that's, to me, that's the pick. It's not the people we want. It's the laws and the baggage that comes with it. That's what we're trying to keep out.
I think that's right. I think that's right, because America is the greatest country in the world, and it's unique because of all the different people and traditions and cultures that make it just so incredible. But what we've seen now was just, especially since COVID, we have lack of workforce. Now we have all these people coming in. We have very few taxpayers. We have more people that are not, working in the marketplace. So now we're trying to take care of our own. We're trying to take care of those that are coming in. We're seeing our dollars are going, less and less further than they were. Mm-hmm. We've got to take care of ourselves and be strong within our own communities, our own nation, our own states, so that we can do exactly what you say. And I concern myself with also, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen the documentary. There was a family that they followed from Venezuela who came across, and my heart went out to them because I know that they took these risks and came so that they could make a better place for their family. But, Mike, what I worry about is if we're not careful about being smart, how we take care of our physical health, take care of our, spending, and take care of trying to help all these people, we're going to create a Venezuela of our own in our own country, and there is no one that's going to take the American people. So I think you're right. At some point we have to kind of set the emotional side apart and think about what's good for the country as a whole. And we're seeing now a lot of people coming in, and it becomes very much a clash with what I think our traditional values as a country are. And pretty soon, I think people are feeling frustrated because they're feeling a little bit outnumbered. We're in this country, I can't ever think of a time when we would have seen so many people standing up against Israel, especially the younger people. And I think these are the kind of things New Mexicans, Americans are starting to go, whoa, this is scary stuff.
Sure.
Our voices are getting drowned out by a lot of people that don't, like you just said, share those same values of our nation. And that, I think, is starting to be very concerning to many people.
Sure. I think it's, and I don't want to sound like old man yelling at young people here, but I think there is a bit of in generations now that have a disconnect on what America stands for in the world. And what I mean by that is we are that beacon. There's a reason why all these people want to come to this country, because if you've ever lived in any other part of the world, even your Englands and Australias and quote unquote, allied nations that walk and talk and act kind of like us. The life is not the same as it is in the United States. And there are things that you cannot do, even in England and Australia, that are very much you can do in the United States and that are legal. And there's not, and I'm not talking about nefarious stuff, just the freedom of choices that you have in your life that you still can't do in England and even places that are quote unquote more like us. They're not
more
the same.
Kind of more the Western culture or Western principles. But here's what's, really interesting, and I think it's worth noting is, Mike, I don't know of any other country in the world where you can basically be invited into their country illegally and then get rewarded for it. And what I mean by that is, the cell phones and the debit cards and the housing. No other country in the world would do that. And I think for me, one thing that's concerning is, look, I'm with you. I'm for a hand up. I'm for making sure we do this correctly. But what I don't agree with is that we have homeless veterans on the streets of America.
Absolutely.
People that fought for this country. We have single parents, even families that are living so below the poverty level. They're living on the streets or in cars or under bridges. We have got, I believe, a responsibility to take care of the American people first.
Yeah.
And that should always be the priority.
Absolutely.
And it feels a little bit like that's kind of slipping. And, we're not I don't see any bills. I don't see any help coming for our veterans. I don't see any help in getting some of our lower income earners off the streets or out of living in their cars or what have you.
Sure.
But yet, if you try to say something like, well, let's slow this down and stop placing the value of the American below people that are, again, breaking the law to get here, I mean, that sends a signal, and I think that's what goes into what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Well, that just kind of, it's open for everybody, and it doesn't matter your beliefs. There's no resilience with our culture and with our beliefs and with what makes us great, and we're really, I think, compromising the greatness of our nation. Can we help folks out? Absolutely. We're a nation built on basically migration. However, we've got to take care of the American people first, and I believe it's really a blow to anybody that's saying, hey, I have less money in my checking account and I'm paying more for this, that, and the other, but we're taking care of a lot of folks that are not responsible for any of the tax base or any of the help in terms of aid. It's just, for the people to take care of them. And I think we're putting too much strain on our American families.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's and to be honest, I think we as a country, we're the greatest nation in the world. I'm believe that till the day I die. And we can do both the way I see it. I'm like, there should not be an American that does not know where they're getting their lunch or dinner tonight. You know what I mean? They should be able to do that. we've got the resources. That shouldn't even be a problem. And and then at the same time, we can still do the other stuff too. But you're right. We got to prioritize America first on this stuff.
Right.
And it's no different than. Let me give you a very bad example. When I'm president with a bad example, but it is. But it's no different than rudimentarily, like when you get on an airplane and they do the safety spiel and they talk about the air mask dropping down. You know what they always tell you? Put yours on first before you help others doing it. America's got to do that a little bit. It's like, hey, we want to help others, but we're not prepared ourselves to take care of it. And I'm like, yes, let's do what we can to help, but first, let's prioritize and take care of our own and make sure they're good, and then we can be in a better situation to help others.
That's right, and that's a great analogy. You know, let's take care of yourself first, ourselves first, our country, our American people. You know, our homeless veterans, those that really do need actually a hand up. Those that have still struggled through the COVID. We still have so many people that either closed their business, lost their jobs. I mean, we just are kind of still in that turmoil, and I think this with this open border, the priority should be, you know, securing the greatness of America first, whether it's, you know, securing the border with more technology, with more people, more funding, ensuring that our economy can be bolstered. Because while all this is happening, and you said something earlier, you said, you know, we have the resources. Well, you start thinking about natural resources and not only farming, ranching, oil, gas, you know, the fossil fuels, mining, all of our natural resources are under attack by this government, by the, you know, the Endangered Species Act, or the lack of permitting, or the land grabs. And I mean, so I'm looking at this going, not only are we opening the doors, if you will, and letting, you know, all these millions of people into the nation to appreciate and to live off of the greatest country in the world and our natural assets and resources, but then at the same time, we're kind of, you know, hitting everybody in the gut. It's a gut punch for those that rely on these natural resources for jobs, for utilities, for lower costs of energy. I mean, I just don't see how we can sustain this for very long. And there's no parity, because it's a very unbalanced playing field. You know, we're giving handouts and rewarding people that are breaking the law. And I think we see that even in our criminal codes. You know, we're seeing there are not a lot of consequences for criminals that are breaking the law. Look how many stores have closed over the last year because they just can't keep up with the theft. You know, they can't. Finally, they started saying up to $1,000 you can steal, and before they'll prosecute. What kind of example is that? What kind of country is that?
Sure.
And that's what scares me. We're now starting to change the greatness of the country by, you know, compromising our beliefs, our values. You know,
absolutely.
We're a country of law and order, and we've kind of lost that on every aspect, every angle. So I think
under the guise of humanity, weirdly enough.
Exactly, exactly. And it's time to just get our country back. It's time to prioritize, like you said, Americans first, and American ingenuity and American assets and American energy and all these things that make us great. And again, like you said, put our mask on first, then we can help our fellow passengers. And we've got to start being serious about that. And I believe that's why these elections this year are going to be so critical for not only the state, but for the country.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every American should be asking themselves, and every single person you're voting for on the primary ballots coming up here in the general election and later this year, every single candidate that you're voting for, you got to ask the question. It's like you look at the policies and things that are going on right now, and you ask yourself, does this person continue to do the policies and things that we're doing now, seeing clearly that it's not working, or are they trying something different and coming from a different angle? And to me, this election is going to be a lot of that. I mean, it's like, is status quo good for you right now? If it is, then maybe we find someone else, because clearly this is not the status quo that we want. So
that's right.
And so that's the big picture you got to ask yourself here. And again, the most powerful tool you as an American has is that vote. And don't let any person on this planet tell you that you're wasting your vote when you're voting for people that you believe are the right people for those jobs. And we got so much agendized stuff, and people telling you got to vote this way for the team and all this. You vote for the people that you believe are the right people to do the jobs. And if you
right.
do that and do your research, then you're doing good. That's it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And you're right to get out the vote. You know, it's in the midterms in 2020 or 2022 when we lost the election by only 1,300 votes. Even in this new district, I mean, a testament to, number one, we were really delivering for New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, we saw a lot of voter turnout a little bit weak in some of the counties around the state, which was unfortunate because I'm very proud of what, we've made huge inroads. For instance, in Downtown County, which is a very blue county, we went from 39% in 2020 to 44.5% in 22. Because, we saw that people were starting to vote exactly what you talked about. The person they knew could do the job, most aligned with their values, who is, maybe had a proven track record. And so, I think we've gotten the party politics have gotten in the way of good relationships and good policies.
Absolutely.
And that's why I love what you said. It's time we kind of move away from that and let's just get to know the people and where they stand and what their true values are and how we can improve this country.
Yeah, and I blame our parties for I think voter turnout is a direct result of the way both political parties have attacked each other. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And doing this thing because they're literally telling you, oh, you're wasting your vote here and all and that resonates when you do that enough times, and I think it discourages people. I think there's more Americans today than 20 years ago that believe their vote doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And
right.
that's a scary thing to have. And because when that happens, if people lose the confidence in voting, then we don't have a democracy anymore. It's a free-for-all.
Exactly right. And you're right in the messaging, with this. Like people think, my vote won't count. It doesn't matter. Yes, it will. And that's exactly, I think, what the far left wants you to think to keep you from getting to the polls. So it's working for them, when they can, talk about things that, it doesn't count, these machines, whatever. A lot of that's stemming from, the other side, and it is resonating. And you're right. Then people just believe, okay, my vote doesn't count. Well, yeah, it does. Your vote doesn't count if you don't vote, but it's certainly, 13, I think we could have found 1,300 more people in the 2nd Congressional District that could have voted and just didn't, whether they thought, red wave, I don't need to vote, or, the machines, it doesn't count. It does count. And that's why, this next number of months, as we gear up for that 2024 November election, we've got to be talking to our friends and neighbors and coworkers. And it doesn't matter the party. It matters the policy, and it matters really what this country looks like in another 4 years or 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping people are starting to wisen up here and seeing because but this is the point. And as New Mexicans, you need to, more so in this state than ever, you've got to vote because this state, I'm sure other states deal with this as much as we do, but we really do. We should have, like on election night when they're doing the numbers and we're seeing this, and they're talking after the end, and it's like only this percentage of the population actually voted for this election. And I'm like, that number should be 90, 95, 98%. It should not be like they talk about 70s and like, that's great. I'm like, no, that's horrible.
That's not great. Yeah. It should be. I mean, like you said, this is such a privilege for us to be able to vote.
Yeah.
And I always remind people, you may not like the candidates. You may not even like politics. You may just not think it's great. But I always tell people, vote for your family, for your kids and your grandkids, or your neighbors' kids and grandkids. But at the very least, go and cast that vote for those Gold Star families who understand the cost of freedom.
Absolutely.
For those veterans who served in all these wars so that we could get to the ballot box and cast a vote. I mean, we owe it to the men and women who have fought for our country's freedom to at least, this is what they fought for.
Absolutely.
And if we can at least respect that and cast our vote based on the fact that men and women died for us to have these freedoms, and a lot of countries around the world don't get this privilege. I mean, at least that should motivate people to get to the polls. It's fascinating to me, but hopefully they'll recognize, and I think people are starting to see we're in grave danger of losing things that really matter to us in terms of, just our cultures, our beliefs, our value system, how this country looks, how our communities look over the next, number of years. And so I'm hoping that'll really energize people to say, enough already. I'm getting to the polls, and I'm going to take some friends with me.
Yeah. Too bad we can't do a thing where we make every American, like when they hit 15 or something, have to go spend a year in another country and live there and experience it, and then come back and then let's see what you think of our country.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Right. Good thought.
Real quick, obviously, if folks want to support you and want more information, are you going to be making any appearances anywhere around here anytime soon or anything, or just point them to the website and steer them there?
Yeah, and I'll be headed over to the east side. I think we're headed over there in April.
Okay.
I'll be speaking at a Federated Women's meeting in Chavez County in Roswell.
Okay.
The middle of April, and I think that week we've got some things we're scheduling over, in Artesia and Carlsbad and
excellent.
just kind of taking some time. So I'll make sure to keep you posted if I know when we get some stuff set up, and then we can kind of talk about it some more.
Well, when you go to the Chavez County Federated Republican Women's meeting next month, folks that go to that one, make sure you come hungry, because they usually serve pretty good meals when they they do their monthly thing. So don't forget.
That's exactly right.
So come for a vet, stay for the pot roast or whatever they're going to be doing at the dinner, at the lunch there.
You bet, exactly. And
Good.
So I know we're going to be spending some time over there. And we were up in the South Valley and up in Albuquerque and Valencia and Socorro counties last week and last weekend, and then actually I leave tomorrow. We're going to spend a handful of days over in Doñana County and Sunland Park, and it's just such a huge district. And but I'm so grateful and blessed that I'm in a place where I can actually take off and go and meet people, because I just think there's so much at stake right now that the more people I can visit with and understand what they're going through, their struggles, how we can help, how Congress can do better, how we can change things for the American people and the people of New Mexico, the better. So I'm spending lots of time on the road, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Best bet is go to her website. It's yvetteherald.com. Pretty easy to find.
Yep.
And there you can, if you want to get more involved in the campaign, there's opportunities there. If you want to learn all about Yvette's positions and values and what she stands for, you'll find all of that there too. And of course, if you want to get in contact with her or have any questions, that's a great way to do that as well too. So
you bet.
Good deal.
You bet. So,
well, did we get it all, or is there anything we missed?
No.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well,
I
good
think
deal.
it's good. It's been a great visit. It's been way too long. We got to do it a little more often.
Yeah. Well, maybe next month when you're in town for the Republican Chavez County Federal Republican Women's meeting, maybe we pop in around that time and visit for a little bit.
Sounds good. We'll make it happen.
All right. Well, thank you, Vet. Stay healthy, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Mike. Have a great...
Now for your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. We begin today in Artesia, where the animal shelter is said to be making progress in controlling a parvo outbreak that we first reported last week. The Daily Press is now reporting that emergency procedures that were implemented at the facility are starting to ease up a little bit. The shelter has since resumed limited business. The shelter is continuing to work with local veterinarians to fight the parvovirus outbreak. They're also integrating new cleaning and intake procedures. Animals are still not being accepted through the front doors, so you do need to make an appointment. Oil and gas operations continue to ramp up throughout the Permian Basin. On Monday, the Energy Information Administration reported the Permian Basin would add 8,000 barrels of oil per day in the month of April for a total of more than 6.1 million barrels every day. That's the most growth and overall production that any other shale region in the entire country. The U.S. has now long overtaken Russia and Saudi Arabia in oil production over the last 5 years. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Reports. The All-Star basketball games are taking place this weekend in Albuquerque, and that's how they do that these days, right after the season ends. The very next weekend, these guys still in basketball shape will be out on the court showing their stuff. And congratulations to Stephen McCaskill from the Roswell Coyotes, a 6'5 senior, will be playing on the green team for Class 5A, and that game will be Saturday afternoon at 4:15 September 15th. All of this will take place at Volcano Vista High School. And all of these, by the way, are for seniors only. We'll get to the all-state selections later, which is all classifications. And congratulations to Brianna Lard from Hagerman. She is on the Class 1A, 2A girls basketball team. That game will be played at 4:30 Friday afternoon at Volcano Vista. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of cloud cover hanging around this morning, but we should start clearing up this afternoon. Pretty pleasant daytime highs today in the mid-70s and a little bit breezy. Overnight will be clear, mid-40s, and then we get sunshine on Friday, upper 70s to about 80 on the afternoon high. The upcoming weekend looks pretty good. Mix of sunshine and clouds Saturday and Sunday, getting windy. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
All across America, this is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Fed News sending stocks higher. Inflation outlook still rising. Nike headlines retail earnings today. Wall Street barreling toward a winning week. Yesterday's stock surge fueled by the latest Fed news. Jerome Powell says 3 interest rate cuts are still in the forecast. The Dow Jones Industrial's up more than 400 points on the news. The S&P hit a new record high, up 46%, and the Nasdaq up more than 200 points. Meanwhile, the Fed raising both its GDP and inflation outlook. This despite maintaining its interest rate cut guidance. Projected GDP rose to 2.1%, up from 1.4% in December. Core PCE inflation projections jumping 2 basis points. Intel secured nearly $20 billion of grants and loans, part of Washington's effort to boost chip output. The 2022 CHIPS Act included $39 billion in subsidies for semiconductor production. The goal to cut reliance on chips out of China and Taiwan. Shares of Paramount Global popping this week. The word is Apollo Global Management offered $11 billion for Paramount's film and TV studio. The stock up 11% yesterday. Please join me twice each weekday for the Lou Dobbs Business Report right here.
Business news you need to know. Keep listening for more. This is the Lou Dobbs Business Report.
Companies in the United States are 10 times more likely to be a victim of a cyber attack. Manufacturing, healthcare, retail, financial services, the leading targets. Ericson's Cyber Z Suite provides the protection you need before your data gets stolen, bank accounts get drained, and operations are at a standstill. Call Ericson today to schedule a no-obligation consultation. That's 908-878-7717. Ericson, ERACENT.com. 908-878-7717.
Can't hear as well as you used to? That can happen to the best of us. But when you can't hear people speaking or birds chirping, it's time to take action. That's when it's time to call Howard Allman with Here on Earth Hearing Care Center. Howard has been helping people hear better for over 55 years. Howard is who helps the Artesia seniors with servicing their hearing aids of all makes with free cleaning and hearing evaluations. And he's ready to help you. Howard can share with you information on Audibel Intrigue AI hearing aids with many features you might not expect a hearing aid can do, such as using your hearing aids to stream calls, music, and more. Plus, health monitoring, count steps, even fall detection, all built in. Meet face-to-face with someone who can help you choose the right hearing aid for you. Call Howard at 575-622-0375, and he'll be glad to set up a time to meet with you. That's 575-622-0375 for Howard Allman of Here on Earth Hearing Care Center.
The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop invites you to move on in and check out the fantastic selection of threads, fabrics, and patterns. Take advantage of a huge sale on Brother sewing machines. If you just want to tune up on your own machine, bring it on over for in-house maintenance. And with free lessons at the Calico Cow, you can learn from some of the absolute best. Let's keep the tradition and art of sewing going. The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell, right behind Farley's. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Artesia General Hospital's family practice providers support the healthcare needs of every member in your family, no matter their age. With locations in Artesia and Carlsbad, our compassionate experts offer a full range of primary services and can help manage chronic conditions, treat illness and injury, and coordinate specialty care. Whether you need a medical provider for your entire family or are getting on track with your annual checkup, we're here for you. Reach out today at artesiageneral.com/family.
Most of us know the story of the Good Samaritan. A Samaritan man, someone who was thought to be lesser than, stopped alongside a dangerous road to help someone that had been left for dead. He didn't have to stop. 3 supposedly religious and righteous men passed the man by, but the Samaritan stopped, took him for help, paid for it, and promised to come back and pay for anything else. He went out of his way. We would say he went the extra mile. Jesus used this parable to show how his people should treat those they encounter. I found this quote that kind of sums up the story. Always be kind. If you see someone falling behind, walk beside them. If someone is being ignored, find a way to include them. If someone's been knocked down, then lift them up. Always remind people of their worth. Be who you needed when you were going through hard times yourself. What a great quote. Just one small act of kindness could mean the world to someone.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Central Valley Electric is continually learning and advancing technology that improves electric service, reliability, and safety, and in turn enhancing the quality of life for members that we serve in our local communities. CVE offers an account management program called Smart Hub that allows members to track their usage, set up convenient pay methods, and the ability to manage their energy use with smart technologies. A secure system such as Smart Hub is an easy tool to use. To sign up, visit cvecoop.org and click Smart Hub to get started.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin and Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin and Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin and Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
No static at all. Your new home for talk radio is KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Haiti is facing continued violence and unrest.
Armed gangs have launched new attacks in the suburbs of Haiti's capital. The once peaceful outskirts of Port-au-Prince were caught under heavy gunfire from gangs. Haiti's national police force remains understaffed and outmatched. Just a day before, gang members could be seen running in the streets of the capital. The U.S. rushed to evacuate its citizens, dozens heading to Florida. Gunmen in Haiti have set fire to police stations for Haiti's international airport and stormed the country's 2 biggest prisons, releasing more than 4,000 inmates. I'm Karen Shamas.
Existing home sales increased to a 1-year high in February as supply improved.
The National Association of Realtors says home sales jumped 9.5% last month to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 4.38 million units, the highest level since February 2023. Economists had forecast home resales would fall to a rate of 3.94 million units. The rebound occurred despite a plunge in pending home sales in January.
Correspondent Jeremy House. A gunman ambushed police officers during a prison inmate transfer in Boise, Idaho, and now there's a manhunt for 2 people. 3 corrections officers were shot and wounded. Secretary of State Blinken says the gaps are narrowing in indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas over another ceasefire and hostage release. Blinken is on his 6th visit to the Mideast since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. The number of Americans signing up for unemployment benefits fell slightly last week. Another sign the labor market remains strong. Stocks higher in trading this morning. More at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
As Congress scrambles to avoid a partial government shutdown, Republican Senator Rand Paul says he will hold up passage of the spending package that must be passed by midnight tomorrow. Bob Agnew reports.
The reasoning behind the threat is not surprising, coming from perhaps the Senate's most outspoken budget hawk. Paul says, quote, "I will hold it up primarily because we're bankrupt and it's a terrible idea to keep spending money at this rate." Paul says he'll be pushing for a number of amendments and complains the bills as written will lead to a $1.5 trillion deficit for the year. Bob Agnew reporting.
California wants to pay doctors more money to convince them to see more Medicaid patients. Democrats have greatly increased the number of people eligible for Medicaid in the state, but the rates Medicaid pays doctors have not kept up. Medicaid is the government-funded health insurance program for people with low incomes or disabilities. News and analysis at townhall.com. The Los Angeles Dodgers have fired the interpreter for its star Japanese player Shohei Ohtani following allegations of theft.
Ippei Mizuhara had been like Shohei Ohtani's shadow, accompanying the Japanese baseball star on practices, games, and press conferences. Now the longtime interpreter stands accused of massive theft. According to the American sports network ESPN, at least $4.5 million were transferred from Shohei Ohtani's bank account to a bookmaker. Mr. Mizuhara initially told ESPN that he'd asked the baseball star for help with his gambling debts, but then changed his story, now saying that Ohtani did not know about the issue and had not transferred any money. The team's senior communications director has told the BBC that they're still gathering information and confirmed the interpreter has been fired.
The BBC's Shaima Khalil. The firing took place while the Dodgers opened the season with games in South Korea. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The Travelician, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Tristan Viernos.
Yes. Said it Roy style.
I had to break it down Roy style.
Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes.
I just saw something online that something we're going to be doing a little bit on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk too much about it, but Amy McGate is going to join us at the Historical Society Monday, and we got a special thing. It's two things. One, we would do part of it is one thing separate from the other, but then Jim Gill, of course, we lost a great
community, great person here recently with Jim Gill at Roswell Seed. And, of course, his services are tomorrow.
Yes.
At Grace Community Church, I believe at 11 a.m. But on Monday, Amy's going to come in. We're going to do a little, because to be honest, I don't think people realize this because this is the Gill family and just, they support a lot of community, a lot of charitable, groups and things, community-based organizations here. And the thing is, they just like I know with the Historical Society, Humane Society, just those two alone, he's given them copious amounts of money and sponsored and supported various events they've done throughout the years, and in times where I don't think the event would have happened without the support of the Gill family and everyone at Roswell Seed. So, but they do that kind of stuff all the time. So we just kind of want to talk about Spotlight a little bit and not too much because there's a reason why they didn't tell everybody. They just want to do it, not make a thing about it. And so I kind of want to respect that, but kind of also think no, people need to know what kind of good things that family's been doing and probably will continue to do in the course of Roswell here. And it's the big loss. But yes, on Monday, Amy's going to come in. We're going to have some fun. It's not going to all be somber because if anybody knew Jim Gill.
Yeah,
he's a character.
I'm actually I'm in the process of working on something, a little production piece. Hopefully, I can get it over to in time for maybe services, or maybe this is just for the family.
Yeah.
But over the years, I mean, anybody who's heard Jim Gill's commercials knows that man. He loved getting in the booth. He loved doing commercials, and he always loved
but didn't like being on the radio.
Yeah, he didn't like doing long form interviews.
We couldn't get him to do an interview. I mean, he did a couple, but it was literally took an act of Congress to get him to do an interview.
But those little 30-second windows into his psyche, into his world, were always so much fun,
Yeah,
absolutely. And the characters that like sort of entered the. I used to joke the Jim Gill cinematic universe, his wife and the whole "Yes, dear," and all those. Like those were born out of like legitimate conversations that they have had. Like when he's like, "Well, where are the red ones?" She meaning the cranberry frost. That's legitimate conversations that they've had. But he loved doing production and getting in the booth. I always loved working with him too. So
I think he just loved talking and interacting with people, and those commercials were an extension of that a little bit too. So, but he's we have lost a great person in this community, and we thank them and we honor them and we pray for them as they're going through this hard time right now.
This has been a tough week, man.
It has. I mean, you're dealing with this exact same situation in your own family.
Yeah.
And and to be honest, like in my world too, I've got a distant family member doing the same. It's just like, why is everything happening now with this? It seems like everywhere I turn and every circle I turn, there's loss going on right now, and it's just a bummer.
I try. See, and this is it's so funny because and my therapist has told me this many times. I'm the kind of person who doesn't deal with trauma head on well. I have to put a layer of humor between me and the situation in order to process things.
Yeah, I'm one of those people where, and this is where, like, when things get like hard, that's where I'm okay. Like if something's crazy, an event, something shocking, I generally handle those better than nitnoid little things. Like those are the ones that'll unravel me.
Right.
If someone's like, all right, we got to fire this or whatever it is, I'm like, all right, this and this first. Let's do that. That my brain works better, weirdly enough, in those situations.
In the under pressure situations. Yeah. I'm the other way. I'm wired a little differently. I do get my best work done under pressure, but you won't like me while I'm doing it.
Right. Put it this way. I get curt and short, and less is more with me when I get in that mode. And you start trying to semantic me, I'm going to eviscerate you in a second. I'm like, I ain't got time for that nonsense.
Yeah.
Go. I will be rude, but I will think clearly.
Yeah. In the moment, Mike does tend to have a clearer head than most.
Yeah.
He's diffused quite a few bombs.
I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it again. There's a character in Resident Alien, the sheriff of the town, and to me, he's one of the. I mean, the main character is the reason, but he's one of the funniest side characters of that show because he's a man that's so man. And he still thinks like a man, and he's kind of narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of these guys that, like, you know, doesn't give credit where credit's due sometimes.
Right.
But he just says things that's so based, to use a term that the kids use nowadays, that makes me laugh so hard. And so, but sometimes I'm like, I'm not that bad. But I have those moments.
It's really endearing when you find yourself in a character.
Yeah.
Like I found myself in quite a few, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am kind of that guy, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do enjoy those moments.
But kind of, because he's one of those guys where in pressure he's actually good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just leave him to his own thoughts, look out.
Actually, literally 2 days ago, we had this exact conversation. Me and my friend Misty. We were watching Parks and Recreation, and she came to the realization. She goes, "Why is she me?" Because very much, they embody the same qualities, those same like attributes.
But that's not always a bad thing. Because, in case you haven't heard, we're all not perfect. We all have flaws.
Nobody's perfect.
And sometimes you seeing yourself and others points out, oh yeah, do I do that?
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Right. Like, oh, that's a quirky thing, huh? I just thought that was something people do.
Sometimes it's a good way to showcase to someone a less desirable trait of them that you hope that you want to change without offending said person. Yeah. And then sometimes in the heat of the moment, I use words that are more stringent than they should be, even though they kind of mean the same thing, but they're the much more aggressive form of that. And so unfortunately, when I use that, people get so lost in the terminology that they miss the point of what I'm trying to say, and that infuriates me too. But then I got to remind myself, like, I'm not talking. I got to talk to their level, not my level, to get them to understand what I'm saying.
Less Nietzsche, more Al Bundy.
Yeah, these are my problems. But anyway.
I have to point something out. And this was literally just something that you said on a phone conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
But I like to eavesdrop in this office. You were talking about Ed O'Neill and his character from Modern Family, which is another show I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
You referred to him as the guy who played Ted Bundy.
Oh, did I say Ted?
You did say
Al?
Ted Bundy. I caught that. I was like, I have to fix that later.
I was half right. And then Al Bundy.
Wildly different character arcs.
Well, I'm hoping Gene knew what I was talking about when I was making that reference, because he's probably looking for Al Bundy or Ted Bundy references now.
He's like, where's that guy that played Ted Bundy on Modern
used
Family?
Dutch. The guy in Dutch. Which is a great movie.
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
You've never seen Dutch?
I don't think so.
I want to say it came out in the 90s. It stars Ed O'Neill.
Okay.
And he's like I think he's like a stepdad trying to he's dating a woman. He's trying to get in the good graces of the kids, the mom's kid. And so he's doing all this over, something like that.
That's like 7 movies in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like you kind of just described Man of the House with
well,
Chevy
and
Chase.
to be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen it. He plays more of an Al Bundy-like character in it, but more
91.
intelligent, if that makes sense.
Wow, he had so much hair.
Yeah.
Okay. Working man Dutch Ed O'Neill is dating the divorced Natalie, Jo Beth Williams, and he offers to drive her stuffy 13-year-old Doyle Ethan Randall
Doyle rule
from his private school in Atlanta to his mother's home in Chicago for Thanksgiving. It's another Thanksgiving movie.
Yes.
You don't have enough of these.
Well, there you go. It's a Thanksgiving movie.
There you go. Now I have an argument when people are like, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is the only Thanksgiving movie. No,
there
it's
is
not.
Dutch.
I gotta go watch
also
Dutch.
is in the genre.
Doyle's not interested as he blames Natalie for the divorce and wants nothing to do with mom's new boyfriend, especially given the man's lowly working class roots. The pairing makes for a journey filled with bickering, mishaps, and eventually bonding.
Yes.
It's a buddy comedy.
Yeah, it's two opposites come together to find common ground. That's the story. It's the same story told a million times. But Dutch. That's the only
Ask
other.
for it by name.
And to be honest, I cannot name another movie he's ever been in.
I don't think he's always been. I've always thought of him as a
TV
sitcom
actor.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think of Married with Children and Modern Family, and I can't think of any. And Dutch. Those are the 3 things I know. Ed O'Neill or.
I think he broke off and started
O'Neill.
doing some of like the drama stuff.
I can't want to say Ed Harris. No, Ed O'Neill.
Ted Bundy. Leslie Nielsen. we mix up. We have fun here. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna have to go check out Dutch.
Yeah, I don't know where you can find it. I don't know if it's on a streaming
the
service somewhere.
The $1.99 bin and just try and save.
It's probably hard to find. But yeah, you know what though? I think you should. I think you start the Thanksgiving movie thing trope of it, and let's get it back on Amazon Primes or everywhere, in the more forefront of streaming service.
Well, it's like, okay, and this is the same thing we dealt with in music radio back in the day. I don't work at a station where this is a problem now, but come to find, there's really only one Thanksgiving song ever written, and it's called Tom's Diner.
Okay.
Is it Tom's Diner? Yeah, I think, this is it's called
Adam Sandler done a Thanksgiving song?
Well, yeah, there's that. But I'm talking about because
a family legit.
When you go to program like Christmas music, you have plenty to choose from. In this case, you have Tom's Diner or Adam Sandler or nothing.
Well, Thanksgiving is the holiday that everything gets slept on. There's no decorations really per se. Corn, a cornucopia. These are the decorations of which you speak with Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving doesn't get the love it should.
It doesn't get any love in stores because they go right from Halloween to Christmas.
Matter of fact, Jingle Bells, did you know, was a Thanksgiving song.
Let's bring it back.
Supposed to be.
Let's start Thanksgiving. We're going to Jingle Bells marathon at Thanksgiving.
I'm going to bring it back.
24 hours of Jingle Bells right here on 106.5. Ross is talking about this Thanksgiving.
Mannheim Steamroller, who needs them? We got Jingle Bells performed by 60 different artists.
Including the dogs. Oh, we're putting the dog version.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the dogs are going in.
I wonder if the guy who made that, whenever it was made or whatever, is that guy living off dog Jingle Bell money?
I doubt that guy is living anymore. That song came out in 67.
Okay, it's like the family living off dog Jingle Bell money.
Yeah, probably. He launched a whole subgenre of music.
Do you think every holiday they just play that song and blow their nose in dollar bills or something?
I don't remember this commercial, but I got to imagine that at some point they put out a K-Tel record. K-Tel record presents The Singing Dogs. Enjoy all of your favorites.
Yeah, maybe there's a whole
Elvis Presley. They cover Hound Dog.
Yeah. Or maybe it's all Christmas songs. Maybe there's Silent Night and a few others these and dogs who just don't know they exist.
And the ultimate hybrid is when you find that somehow the Singing Dogs have covered Tom's Diner.
Purple.
Which is somewhere in the Dutch soundtrack.
So is Tom's son, I'm trying to think of that song. Is it a real heartwarming?
It's like a 7-minute long folk song about
it sounds
a guy
like a country song
who's sitting in a diner on Thanksgiving and he's sad.
Ah.
And have you ever heard the song, the song, The Ballad of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Yes.
It's very much in that vein. It's long, sing-songy, and it's a guy telling a story.
And then we're supposed to feel happy about Thanksgiving afterwards?
Oh, no, not happy. Nobody said you were supposed to take happiness from it.
Well,
music is subjective.
Thanksgiving. You're supposed to be thankful.
Now,
one who's thankful should be happy.
Now, let's go ahead and juxtapose that with the actual Thanksgiving.
Right.
How do those usually go down?
Right. But I'm just saying, if we're going to make songs and create, a mood setter for the holiday, maybe not pick a song that sounds like a ship that's sinking and killing everyone.
Right. The first line of the song is, hang on, I think I still have it pulled up. My phone's gonna die.
Just say it. Maybe something a little more heartfelt, a little more warm.
I am sitting in the morning at the diner on a corner. I'm waiting at the counter for the man to pour the coffee. As he fills it only halfway, and before I even argue, he's looking out the window at somebody coming in.
Golly,
and the story goes on.
I'm sad already.
Yeah.
Because I picture a guy by himself at a diner, seeing the pie under the glass case, wondering if he wants a piece, if someone's going to show up to have a piece with him. That's what I feel like. But anyway, we need to work on this.
We should.
We need to. We're gonna.
We're gonna be the boys. Expand the Thanksgiving genre.
I want to say something, but I can't because Sean would know. I'll say it to him off there. All right. We're supposed to have the DA's office join us. I don't think they're here, and I hadn't heard from them. So
usually they make themselves known.
Yeah. Usually it's very quiet in there, and usually when people are in there, it's not. So I'm going to go with they're not here. So as a backup, I'm going to play our interview we had with John from Oasis Computers. He joined us to talk tech in the 7 o'clock hour yesterday. So I'll give them a few minutes in case they're running late here. But so it is 9:22. Let's go ahead and take a gander at your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A little bit of cloud cover hanging around this morning, but we should start clearing up this afternoon. Pretty pleasant daytime highs today in the mid-70s and a little bit breezy. Overnight will be clear, mid-40s, and then we get sunshine on Friday, upper 70s to about 80 on the afternoon high. The upcoming weekend looks pretty good. Mix of sunshine and clouds Saturday and Sunday, getting windy. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 58 degrees and cloudy here in Roswell. It says mostly. I guess it is mostly because there's more clouds than sun. I'm going to go partly just because I'm a glass half full guy. Humidity is at 44%. Winds are calm at the moment. Mostly sunny today. Expect a high of 74 with northwest winds 5 to 10 this morning, picking up 10 to 15 miles per hour later this afternoon. Mostly clear tonight. Expect an overnight low of 44 degrees. West winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Friday, sunny, 78, pushing 80 tomorrow. Winds will be out of the north, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy. Overnight low of 47. North winds 5 to 10. Saturday, 77 and partly cloudy, but it will be breezy. Official term there. Southeast winds 10 to 15 in the morning, 15 to 20 for Saturday afternoon. Sunday, going to be windy. We go from breezy Saturday to windy Sunday. They're talking, expect patchy blowing dust Sunday afternoon, mostly sunny and a high near 70. Patchy blowing dust continues into the early Sunday evening hours till about 7 p.m., but then mostly clear after that with an overnight low of 39 degrees. Windy, still the term they use there for Sunday night. And then Monday when you head back to work and school, 61 and mostly sunny, breezy, the technical term they use there.
Blowy. I have to run a retraction.
Okay.
It is not Tom's Diner. In fact, Tom's Diner was written November 18th, so it's Thanksgiving adjacent, but Alice's Restaurant is a Thanksgiving tradition in America.
Is it equally depressing?
It is equally depressing. And it's equally long and storytelling and sing-songy, and yeah, it's not a fun listen.
Man, I just want to get can we sing a song about turkey and cranberries? It's a whole movie?
Well, it's a movie, but yeah, there's
Tom's Diner or the other one?
Alice's Restaurant.
Alice's Restaurant.
Yeah, it's a movie, but the song associated
with
it
is this related to the TV show Alice?
No, although that would
because he worked in the diner there with Mel's Diner, remember that show? Yeah, we're all old enough to remember that show here. Yeah, so it's not related to Alice's Restaurant.
It's Alice's Restaurant, but not Mel's Diner.
This is too confusing.
I don't know if Mel's Diner and Alice's Restaurant and Tom's Diner exist in the same cinematic universe, but
is there a turkey involved?
There's gotta be. There's gotta be.
I know. I'm confused.
It's about Arlo Guthrie.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing about him dumping garbage on Thanksgiving Day.
Okay.
He's taken to jail when he's the whole
Yeah.
song.
Well, that sounds funny, not sad. Okay, well, that's good. Well, funny's good. We'll keep funny.
Song is sad.
But
movies.
No one will eat pie with you at the diner on Thanksgiving. It's not funny.
Fair enough. Speaking of sad, I gotta go do country.
All right, it is 9:25. Still not guests yet, so let's take a quick break. I'll be back on the other side. If our guests aren't here, I'll get the other interview going here with John. But first, quick break. We'll be back.
Need new windows for your home? Beware of the sales gangster. Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing and Windows here. A sales gangster is a window salesperson with the mobster mentality. They intimidate, bully, and fast talk you into buying their less than quality windows during a 3-hour pitch. Think I'm kidding? Call a few window companies and see for yourself. Or you can skip the sales gangsters and call Trustmark. We have fair, no-nonsense pricing on our premium windows, and our appointments take only about 60 to 75 minutes. Just long enough to listen to what you need, show you your options, answer your questions, and give you a straightforward quote. Then it's up to you. We can take a no just as easy as a yes, but I'll guarantee you this. No sales gangsters. Sound fair? Call Trustmark Roofing and Windows for your no-obligation spring window assessment. 575-755-7663 or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
To plant or not to plant? That is the question. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Our tomato plants and pepper plants are ready to go. If you plant them now, you might have homegrown tomatoes and peppers before anyone else. Or the frost might kill them. As Clint Eastwood would say, do you feel lucky? You'll either be the smartest gardener in the county or you'll get to replant them all over again. I say go for it. You'll get more practice and we'll get more business. This is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company, and I apologize to William Shakespeare.
Double up days roll on at Roswell Honda, where up to $2,000 gets you up to $4,000 towards your next vehicle, like a 2013 Honda Civic, just $269 a month, or a 2012 Honda Cross Tour, just $189 a month. Get a 12-pack and spin the prize wheel just for stopping by, a turn at the cash grab with a test drive, and a $25 Home Depot gift card with any purchase. Then join Roswell Honda Saturday from 10 to 1 for free food and drinks, stuff for the kiddos, and your chance to win a spring bundle, including a 4-burner gas griddle. Double up days on now at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Most of us know the story of the Good Samaritan. A Samaritan man, someone who was thought to be lesser than, stopped alongside a dangerous road to help someone that had been left for dead. He didn't have to stop. 3 supposedly religious and righteous men passed the man by, but the Samaritan stopped, took him for help, paid for it, and promised to come back and pay for anything else. He went out of his way. We would say he went the extra mile. Jesus used this parable to show how his people should treat those they encounter. I found this quote that kind of sums up the story. Always be kind. If you see someone falling behind, walk beside them. If someone is being ignored, find a way to include them. If someone's been knocked down, then lift them up. Always remind people of their worth. Be who you needed when you were going through hard times yourself. What a great quote. Just one small act of kindness could mean the world to someone.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Attention Roswell, Carlsbad, Artesia, and all of southeast New Mexico. The University of New Mexico wants you. UNM is ranked in the top 1.5% of all universities in the world, and the only Research One university in New Mexico, with over 200 academic programs and endless opportunities. UNM is truly a world-class university. Define your future at the University of New Mexico, and UNM has increased the number of scholarships for 2021, so now is the time to apply. Apply today at unm.edu. Now accepting applications from Southeast New Mexico.
It's possible to turn peanut butter into diamonds. Peter Pan tried it with his buddy Skippy, but they couldn't do it in a jiff. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is closing in on 9:30. I do not see my guest yet. So, in its place, yesterday in the 7 o'clock hour, John from Oasis Computers joined us for his monthly visit, talking computer tech with us and Windows updates and passwords and all that good stuff. Always full of good information. So, in its place, here is our interview with John from Oasis Computers. Enjoy. This morning, John from Oasis. And good morning. It is 7:24, and joining us in studio this morning, John from Oasis Computers back with us. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
How's life at the shop today?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good deal. Of course, folks not familiar, John pops in for a visit each month and talks computer tech with us. If it's, sometimes the latest and greatest or not so greatest with Microsoft updates or
yeah,
or it could be just good useful tips on general computer housekeeping to staying on top of stuff is half the battle sometimes. So that's kind of what we do, is just kind of give folks a little bit insight on the world of computers and things.
Right.
So is it pretty, I don't know, for me it seems kind of quiet in the computer world as far as releasing and updating. And I know Microsoft Windows did an update here.
I think we're just being abused too much with all the updates, and it's like,
yeah,
doesn't hurt no more. It's just the way it is.
Right.
Stuff.
It's the cost of doing business now, instead of the oh man, someone ought to fix this. Now it's just like, that's just how the deal works.
Yeah, we're just the passwords and keeping up with that is still the biggest problem.
And I still think as technology advances, it's still going to get worse, not better, until, you know what I mean?
No, I think it's getting better.
Is it? Okay,
because
now that we went to these different ways to access, instead of putting in a password, your eye or thumb or some design and,
well,
and
the
finger.
problem
What are you doing?
is right now is that everybody is doing something new.
Yeah.
And I don't even get half of it to work correctly. It works here, but not there. And
Yeah.
then it doesn't work, but the next day it does work. And don't understand why it works now. So the, how do you put it? The passwords are finally something that people realize is important, whatever. And now they're changing that again. But that's confusing, even though it may be easier. You know, certain things work pretty good. The message to the phone, but then we run into problems that people don't have the right phone, change phone number. It really feels like at the moment you can't win, but you can see it go forward. The Microsoft, wants the Microsoft account, and it slowly more and more systems get, what do you call that, reinstated if something goes wrong by re-signing into your Microsoft account.
Right.
If it is set up correctly, it works really well at the moment. Your stuff stays, comes back. And then Google is doing the same thing from within Google. So is Firefox. All of them, you can make a Google account and a Firefox account. And then when you log into the browser then brings everything back that you had in there.
Right.
And those things, I think, are going forward very helpful, except we're in the middle of it. And it like I said before, it looked like I would have a lot less work. Just get a new machine or have it redone, whatever, redo it, and then sign in with a Microsoft account. Just about everything comes back. That belongs with Microsoft anyway. And that's not working out real well. Now we're running into the problem that to get it back, more and more, we need passwords. People don't know them because they were entered in automatically.
Right.
Now, if you have the old system, you can just go look at it. But if it broke, the drive went bad, whatever, then you don't have that.
You're out
and
of
now
luck.
we need to figure out the passwords, what turned out to be a lot more of a nightmare and a time-consuming process than what it should be.
That kind of spawned a little bit of a question there when you're talking, because we have different ways of, when you log into your Microsoft or whatever accounts you have here, and a lot of times, if you haven't logged in for a while, or if you forget those passwords, like you said, you retrieve your password, or hey, you logged in but put in your password to verify it's you, kind of thing. After, sometimes I guess after so many months, they want you to put the password in to keep it fresh or something. But a lot of times they'll ask you, hey, you put in your password. We want to do a second verification to prove it's you. And would you like sent to your email, text to your phone, or whatever? And I think, thinking logically, and I don't know if this is correct logic, but would it not make sense? Because I think more people are less apt to change their phone number than their email. Like, I feel like people keep a phone number longer than they keep.
I think the problem is the understanding how important that is.
Yeah.
That's more than anything else. We just, a phone number. Well, it's nice to have the same phone number. People know you and can call you by that number. But if you change it, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Well, now you tie your accounts to it, and then you change the phone number. Then something goes wrong, and then the password don't work.
Right.
Whoever's fault that is, doesn't matter at this point. Password doesn't work. Send a message to the phone number ending in 22 or whatever, and you changed the phone, the phone and the phone number 3 weeks ago. Well, you can't get that message there, and then there's no help. Then you're stuck.
Well, I just think sometimes some people they have multiple emails, and they're like, "Oh, I don't remember what email this is assigned to." But if you set it up so that your verifications and everything go to your phone instead of an email, I imagine you have a stronger chance of not losing things. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
because I just feel like you're more apt to use the phone and keep that number.
Right. To put it simple, if you do computers, it seems like you need to have one of these modern cell phones.
Right.
Not an old flip phone that doesn't do emails. That don't work. You need to definitely get email on it because. I mean, not email, texting on it. Because it needs to text something to it. Do not change that number. So, first of all, you have to have it. Some older folks have been in, they don't have a cell phone number, and it already becomes a problem. It's really, things that are not on the radar until something goes wrong.
Sure.
So you set it up and you think you're doing good. Then we have a tendency to forget.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a real long password for my password manager. And then I run into a problem that it didn't work because I had to go to the wife's phone, what it's installed on there.
Right.
And the thumbprint on it did not work. And I said, this is too complicated. It's too hard to find it on this device. And I changed the password, and I said, okay, I use this. I'll remember that. Let me write it down, though. Well, the next morning I come to work, and it didn't work because I picked the wrong one of the combination that you use. The brain remembered a different combination than what I actually used.
Sure.
So I had to call up and say, hey, that piece of paper, can you tell me what the password was?
Yeah.
And, after 2 or 3 times, it kind of sort of sticks a little bit. So those things we run into. The other problem I run into is real funny. We got some little tablets, some Windows tablets at the house. And I set them up so that we both can use them. She can use it by logging into her account. I can log into my account. Well, you have face recognition, it works great. So you are the other person using the machine, and you don't know how to do it. So you hand it over to me, and in the meantime, it had gone off, so you need to re-log in. So I need to re-log into your account, but I'm looking at it, and it keeps logging in with my account. I mean, another thing...
This almost sounds like a Laurel and Hardy bit there.
Yes, that's a good comparison. So I had it set up with face recognition, and that did good for a little while until we had a problem. This was just over the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's like, darn it, every time I do something, it logs me in. I need to log in with, so I had to turn the face recognition off and just use the PIN. And that worked. So up front, when you set it up, it looks great. I hand it to you, it opens up for you. I use it for me, it opens up for me.
Right.
You need some help, it opens up for me. But I need help with your account, and it opens up for me. Laurel and Hardy, yes, it comes to mind.
I feel like, why hasn't some TV show done this as a comedy bit on their show? Because that's exactly what
I think because we're too frustrated with it, and then the brain doesn't work. The most obvious thing is you ask for a password, and it's like, can't come up with it.
Yeah.
You hand him a keyboard, types right in.
Yeah. Muscle memory. That's a powerful thing. I don't know how many times, and just because in my world I do that a lot, where I work on the computer and do things here, but then say another employee calls me and says, how do you access and do this? And I'm like, hold on, I got to get in front of a computer because I've got to go through the motions to explain it to you. Does it, you know what I mean? You're like, in my head, yeah, I know exactly what to do, but when I got to explain it, no, I got to physically go through the motions to remember the process.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's exactly what you're talking
Having
about.
a password that you log in different places with, but it's the same account you're logging in with. You're like going into Microsoft or going into your email from Microsoft, your life.com. That's weird because you always log into the email. You know what the password is there. It works fine. Then you log into something else from Microsoft, whatever that would be. So it doesn't look like the email. It's the website you're logging into. So, you need to log in here. And then suddenly you go, well, what is the password here now?
Right.
It doesn't work, even though, it takes a minute to go, wait a minute, it's Microsoft. It's the same account as the email, the email password.
Right.
But it's not automatic at that point. I think the brain works a lot on autopilot, and we don't realize it.
Sure. And I would guess, too, if you do what they tell you to do, but, like, for instance, when it comes to passwords, they always tell you should every so few months or year or whatever it is, change your passwords and things,
No, it's absolutely ridiculous.
But that's something they always tell people for security reasons. And I'm like, that could cause more problems than good if you're not on top of it.
It does. Again, up front, it looks like a good idea. Let's change password every month.
Yeah.
And we know if it got hacked into whatever, we're secure.
Right.
But it causes a problem on the end user. But by the 6 times changing it, and you can't use the old one or something.
Well, it wouldn't even. It's not a big deal if you only had like one password to change.
Right. That's the problem.
But most of us have 6 to 8 different things that require passwords.
Right.
Whether it's streaming services or or
How about
Microsoft.
more like 30 things?
Yeah, and I'm lowballing it. I'm
Right.
just throwing a number here, and so and if you do that every month, by the time you get done, you're starting the month over doing it again.
You can't keep up with it. Plus,
Yeah.
you get frustrated.
Yeah.
You get angry, and then it even works less good.
Yeah.
It's really, really something else. The up front, it looks good, like the face recognition. First glance, good idea. But now I try to help you. It keeps logging into my account.
Sure.
And that gets frustrating in a real short time.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
Right.
Especially if you're just trying to do something simple. Now you got to go through 3 different changes to get that done because of something stupid. Yeah.
Right, and then I guess we're creatures of habit. So walking up to it and doing the same thing over and over gets real easy. Burp, you do it. Just burp, you do it. But then you need to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it gets changed on you. Or the website looks different. Or they move, the login
Right.
around. And it just...
Just when I got it down, they changed it on me.
Right. I think but changing the password, to come back to that, you only need to change the password if it's compromised.
Gotcha.
And then, what we just realized is that what has to be protected really good is kind of the email. Why? Well, simple. There's people that don't know their password. They go log into it and they click on forgot password. Send email to whatever.
To reset it.
So then you have a reset link in the email, and you just click on that, and you bang on the keyboard. There's several keys. You don't even know which one you do, and you're in. Now you have a new password. So you log out, and then you have to log back in, and you click on forgot password. I mean, there's no reason to have a password there if you go that route.
Yeah.
It sounds really kind of weird, but it works that way. So
Sure.
now if your email gets compromised, somebody gets in there, they can do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the email is kind of important that's protected.
Sure. What when you talked about when a password gets compromised, change it. Obviously, I know a lot of people will use the same password for multiple things. So if you do that, which I don't think you should do, but if you do that, should you also change those passwords too, since it's the same password, or is that just like?
Well, if it's compromised, what happens is that if you use same password, so I find out your password, login name and password, me at something.net, whatever, with password 1234. Okay, so I think what happens then when that gets compromised, it will run me at something.net against all kinds of institutions like banks and whatever.
So they're just trial and error and see if it'll get you into other things.
Yes, you know your login name, me at Microsoft.com, and you know your password, 1234XYZ. Then the criminal, the one that has the information, can try that on First National Bank. Doesn't work there. Try it on Bank of America. Works there. Oh, this guy's with Bank of America. Let me in. So there's probably, it's all automated, I would assume, that when you pump the username and email in it, that the program runs it through all kinds of websites trying to log in. And if you have the same, there goes your bank, there goes your credit card, there goes your... And
by
so
the way,
on.
there's our Amazon account. Let's run that up. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
some accounts don't matter too much. I don't know how much importance Amazon have.
Well,
I guess
like
they
Netflix.
could order on your account. Yeah, that would be bad too.
Or Netflix or something. But yeah, I mean, Amazon could be a bad one, or just order music and everything, and you're paying for it if you have a card set up to it. And I guess at the end of the day, your streaming service, who's been watching my Netflix? It's probably not that big a deal, but
well, until they start
could use
tightening this up, and then they say,
but that could be their into the other access to your stuff,
right?
So yeah,
it's basically a mess.
So basically, problem is change passwords when they get compromised,
right?
But especially your important.
Well,
that's your money. You probably should use different passwords.
It's like a pyramid. On top is, if you use a password manager, what I can't do without anymore.
Right.
I that's the easiest way to keep track of it.
Sure.
There are several different ones. I use Bitwarden. Seems to do a good job. But it's on the phone. It's on everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when I was working on that tablet, I didn't have access to the Bitwarden on that tablet yet. So now you have to scramble to find your password for whatever you're logging into.
Okay.
What is in Bitwarden. So you need to set Bitwarden up first. Or, like what I do is I have the phone with Bitwarden on it. I just look at what the password is and I can type it in. But remembering it, forget that. And a password book, too many changes. It doesn't...
Unless you just like writing.
Yeah, it's just about not working.
Mm-hmm.
It's partly the way the brain works and getting angry about it. And then you get the worried part.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get in today? What if I'm too late? Do they let me in? What if I lost my password? Do they let me? Oh, my God, this is important.
Yeah.
And that makes it more difficult to do.
And what happens is those things, it's never when you have time to research and fix all that. It's always at that moment where you're trying to do something right now.
Right.
And so you do the path of least resistance to get what you got to do that moment. But what ends up happening is now it screws you for the next time you're trying to go in there and do something. and the table's set that way because in essence, they always hit you at generally those times you're trying to do something real quick or just something you want to access and go on to your next thing. And you don't have time to.
Yeah,
now I'm going to have to spend a half hour getting this all fixed up
before
I can do the thing I'm trying to do.
I also think that what do I see here? Too many options that when the options start, when you first get options to do it, you don't understand what it wants.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, why can I do this? What is it for? Till you get in and get to use it and have used it for a couple of years, you kind of get that's what it is. Accounts logging into a computer. It looks kind of simple, but then it turns kind of weird because you can log in with your account in this one computer, then I can log into the same computer with my account. You get two different computers, even though it's the same one. Now, you can do that with the Microsoft account, get logged into my Microsoft login for the computer, but then I can have you go to Google and log into Google under my account with the Google login for you. And then you can have multiple users set up in there. So under it gets really confusing in a hurry, especially if you have multiple people involved and you need to take care of them. Who's who now, what, where.
Yeah, especially get like the family plan thing where you want certain access to some people for some things and others, but then who can get it where. And I'm fortunately, because I don't have kids and stuff, it's me and my wife, there's not a whole lot of that going on. I think most of our accounts, I think there's very few.
Well, I got a little bit of trouble because over the years we got like 10 email accounts set up that link to different things. And the same thing you said before, laziness or too difficult or don't have to mess with it right now. I could probably eliminate some and move them over. But there's two things. What if I do it wrong? Do I lose my access to it?
Yeah.
And how do I do it? Well, they better leave it alone.
It almost kind of sounds like, how, almost something that maybe computer people should do once a year or at least, like spring cleaning. Like when we always talk about in our physical lives and more, spring cleaning time to clean up your property, your yard, getting everything, looking good. I almost wonder if we should have a bit of a mindset in our computer world. It's like once a year, really sit down and go through this stuff. And determine what you need, don't need, and get rid of some of this stuff and keep the stuff you use. And
I've got kind of an answer on that one. Did you make your backup yet?
Right.
If the people still don't make backups,
right,
and then get upset
I'm not
they
saying
lose
people
it.
Do it, but
so my point is that it's simple to make a backup, really, but many people don't. So the spring cleaning deal is, we should do it, but it probably won't happen.
I'm just wondering if that's something like if someone did that kind of thing, they probably would find themselves having less of these issues dealing with that because they're like, because let's face it, we all and I know too, I'm thinking myself here, I'm like, shoot, I got a Gmail account that I have something as attached to it. I literally don't do nothing else with it, and maybe I can fit, you know what I mean? Just in my head, my own, what we're talking, I'm like, I could do some of this myself on this, and I just think all of us could do that at some modicum, especially if you're a person that
That
has
crossed my mind to just cancel everything I do. Everything. You know, whatever a bill comes in that I pay for, start with those, with the things you pay for.
Sure.
Cancel all of them, and then as you go along, see what you need again.
Start over, and kind of
Just, you know, I need to watch this on, I need then sign up with whatever, Hulu or whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to do this, I need to sign into this again. I don't know if that will work or not.
And to be honest, as we get more technologically advanced and more competition comes into the world for, access to things, it's going to get muddier. Not, you think there's going to be more or less streaming services coming out in the future. I'm sure there's going to be more, not less, and then more people sign up, and now there's another thing you got to have a password to, and it's going to get worse. So I would think that people, for your own personal sanity, maybe come up with a plan on finding a way to organize your life with some of these things. If it's a problem to you, you're going to have to address it. Sit down one day and just bite the bullet and address it.
Technology changes the way we deal with it in itself.
Yeah.
The coming back to the password and the phone, what I realized was that the password manager, to log in on a computer, I type in the password for it, or however I do it exactly. But on the phone, what I realized over the weekend too, on mine, I just use my fingerprint. And it opens up the password manager. So you start the password manager, says we need to log in, push it with the fingerprint, done. Now that works pretty good until you get somebody else's phone, and then it doesn't work.
Right.
And then you need to find it again. So different technology starts making things easier, what then goes back to the older technology that either gets thrown away or updated with the same kind of thing. I keep thinking it's the like so many things in the past, the Betamax and the VHS. Who's gonna win? And one's better than the other one, and they fight over it. Until eventually there's just one left, and then now we look back at it, there's nothing left. Nobody uses tape.
They're
no
both
more.
gone.
Right.
They're both dinosaurs.
So, but when something new comes in, we have 4 or 5 different non-password login type of things. And, messes with the phone or automatic login, however that works exactly, a pass key, a passcode, a pass whatever. Now, all these things are competing, and eventually one will sort of win, and then everybody does that. And then suddenly it's like, it's simple.
Yeah. But, and I wonder how they're going to do that with the streaming services, because I've been wondering the same thing. It's like, man, there's a AMC, Paramount. I mean, everyone's got one now, and you know what you're starting to see is the companies combining them. Like right now, like if you sign up for like Paramount, they're going to throw in like 3 other things that's included with that. And so I'm wondering if that's where the world is. You're going to buy one and then just get them all. And
there's too much consolidation and going bankrupt and restarting up, whatever. I, get a lot of them get paid on a credit card, and when the statement comes in, it was Max at Paramount, then it's Paramount Max. Then the name that bills you keeps changing. I mean, every once in a while I go,
well, the HBO app has changed like 4 times since its existence,
right.
I think. Yeah.
So eventually it will get to the point that they got that figured out, and it hopefully don't change much no more. But
well, and I'm starting to see intellectual properties bleed together. Like you're finding multiple series or a series on multiple streaming platforms. Like when these first started, it was very property centric. If it was made by Paramount, it's only on the Paramount. You're not going to find it on Hulu or Netflix.
Well,
but now you're starting to see some of the Paramount stuff float into on the Netflix.
Well, it makes sense, I'm not going to sign up with this and because of that. So can I see it over there?
Yeah.
And I, just like other people working together. Well, you pay me some royalties and you can show it on your platform too.
Yeah.
And that may
work.
work.
I'm just wondering if we're going to evolve to a day where our network TVs are just apps. And you just say, you want to, I mean, that's literally how we do it. Oh, go to the ABC app and they'll, you know what I mean? Like I wonder at some point where we're going to have a bit of a resurge where like consuming of television is closer to what we do before with channels, but through apps now.
Isn't that kind of what we're doing already?
Yeah, but to a point where, now that instead of that, it's these streaming, these pay-per-view ones, the Netflix. Okay, what's on the Netflix channel? What's going on the, I'm wondering if it's going to turn into that at some point, because it's got to evolve. Like, it's the Wild West right now with all this streaming stuff. It will eventually find its groove and get it to where it's, mainstream the same way everywhere. You know what I mean? I think they're working it. It's like, I'm pretty sure when network television started.
Maybe not. Look what's happening. I mean, we're just talking about what, TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
And I keep hearing, I'm older, so I keep hearing about this, that all these young folks, they're on TikTok or Instagram or whatever they're on.
Yeah.
And do they watch TV anymore? No, they don't.
No.
That thing you're talking about may already be a goner.
Yeah. Half of them watch TV, and watching TV is YouTube. That's watching TV.
Right.
Yeah. So you're right.
Now your shows are starting to end up on YouTube.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I wonder if we're going to evolve into kind of how we watch TV now, but it's all internet app but it's even to the point where everyone's doing it. Just the young people.
Getting your information, your news, what are you interested in, whatever it is changing too. People used to watch the Paint Channel or the entertainment or the educational or whatever.
Yeah.
Now we're more watching that guy that has some followers on the internet, on his blog or his YouTube thing he does. More and more we watch more. We're still watching Leo Laporte show.
Mm-hmm.
And we watch it like it's TV. So, he comes on. This one is interesting. It has something to say. Let's listen to that.
Right.
And who suffers? The news, because I get news through him. That is more geared to what I want to hear than what comes out of the news.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm thinking it could be a good thing. I guess I'm curious and excited to see how this evolves into what the end game kind of is, or how we grow to this is our new normal. I'm kind of watching that evolve as we speak.
Well, if it's like me, we'll slowly get to the point. Forget it. Let's just throw it all out. Just go sit outside and have a beer or something like that.
I've kind of hit a point where, like, I don't want to learn any new technology. I'm like, look, I'm good right here at this phone. I don't need any more conveniences or advancements. This is good enough for me.
Well, it's the fix for the problem we didn't have.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I figure out how to get my TV channels. Don't add or I got it. I'm good. I know that's not going to happen, but I'm at that age where that's how I feel it.
How to get to it and where to get it is what's changing.
It's like, can I freeze everything in time and just do it this way? Because I got everything working. So. I just saw the time. We probably need to wrap things up. Of course, if you're having computer issues, or if you need or if you want a new computer or built one built, if you have a computer that's being ornery and not talking to you or showing you the screen of death or you're in password hell, let John help you out and see if he can fix you.
I can help with a lot, not everything.
He is not a miracle worker. He's pretty good.
Well, they tell me I am, so I don't know where that lies. But
he can't make water into wine, but he's pretty good at making your computer working. So
or tell you don't fix it. It's too much money. Anyway, one note here: tomorrow we're closed. In case anybody plan on coming tomorrow, I'm out of town in Las Cruces.
Today or
today
or
I'll be here, and Friday I'll be back.
Gotcha.
If I don't get any problems going out of town, but we hope not.
Assuming everything works according to plan there, you'll be back to work Friday.
That should work that way. But
of course, he worked as far as customer service stuff. A lot of it's morning hours, 8 to about noon, Monday through Friday.
Bring it in between 8 and 12, Monday through Friday. Stop by, whatever. And then in the afternoon, if you need to be there by special appointment, I may not always be there. I may be on service calls, whatever. But we do a special appointment. Has been working really good.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, if you have networking, he will work on networks and things. But generally, that's when he has to do house calls because he's got to go to where the network is.
Yeah, a couple of things we need to go really to your location.
Or if say you've got a computer that needs some heavy lifting work, then that's when he tears them down and works on them, where he's got the time and the quietness to go work on the bigger problem.
The time, you don't want me to sit and wait on downloads, whatever, for 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that's time consuming, but like
Out. What happens sometimes is, no, I want you to come out, and it's like, well, I'm not sure what I can do. I get out there and get just what I thought. Let me take it with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you might as well bring it in yourself then.
Absolutely. So, but
in the mornings,
and
when
then
you
of course,
do it,
if you have any questions,
don't hesitate to
swap
call.
out a cable or just something simple. He can probably knock it out right there, and you take it out with you.
Right.
But if it's a bigger issue that he's got to do some
if we
digging
go
on.
out, what happens sometimes is, no, I want you to come out, and it's like, well, I'm not sure what I can do. I get out there and get just what I thought. Let me take it with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you might as well bring it in yourself then.
Absolutely. So, but and then of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call.
Mhm.
Leave a voicemail if you don't get John. John might be helping a customer doing something else. If you don't get live John there, but he will return your call if you leave a message. So leave a voicemail.
I'll do my best. I have called back a day or so later. But if I notice that there was a message left, I will call back.
He will call you back. But if you don't leave a message, he will not call you back.
It may not, depending on who I see on the phone.
He might recognize the number, like, oh, that's Bob. I need to talk to that guy.
Right.
But anyway, what's that phone number?
575-625-9141.
Good deal. And then, of course, visit Oasis Computers behind the Wool Bowl.
Yes.
They're on Garden.
Yeah. Behind the Wool Bowl. Don't confuse it with Atkinson.
That's right. I've almost got it nailed now. They're on Garden. Come by for a visit and let John and even if you want to learn more about unplugging and getting off the cable and doing all that, and you need the equipment and the information to do that, John can help you do all that too.
So we can do that.
Well, thank you, sir. Let's get back to your bevy of, I'm sure, customers waiting for you to
fix some more up.
That's right. So and then we'll see you next month. So appreciate it.
That contributed to the attack. A jury last week convicted